Yeah, I just slammed that meal, and I've been trying to catch up on water. I'm just like, whatever that part of the stomach is above the stomach, it's like going past my tits, and I'm just like, oh god.
It's your stomach is just working its way through your digestive tract.
Oh, okay.
Chug some water.
It takes time for it to move. Your stomach is still an organ.
Oh, well, that makes sense. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 3 of the Monday Morning Muscle Show, hosted by Tonio Burton. And we have his phenomenal, strikingly good-looking coach, Justin Jacobs, on here to talk about all things bodybuilding and fitness. How are you guys doing?
Good. It's I told Tonio the other day, I was like, I've been waiting to do a podcast with you for a while because we've never done one together. We've worked together now for over a year. I think it was June of last year.
Yep.
That was when we started working together. It was June.
Yeah, June.
It was like short. It was only a few weeks after Cal.
Yeah.
Last year. So we've been together for over a year, and I've and obviously like he's been on podcasts and talks about me, and I've been on podcasts and I talk about him, but we've never been able to do one together. So this is like kind of a treat because then we can really dive into the stuff that people want to know. The secrets.
Yeah. It's not very often you get to have the athlete and the coach in the same conversation.
Yeah, especially because I think people lie. I think we lie about things we do as well.
Oh
yeah.
So now it's like we're in person too, so we can't text each other and be like, "Hey, say this." So
yeah, right. It's like I don't know how to screen share, but I could go to my WhatsApp really fast and like go to and show every plan that was ever sent.
Right.
That's why I do it that way because it saves them there. So yeah, I have everything that I've ever had him do saved in WhatsApp. Because we actually Tonio and I work through text message actually for our check-ins. But so I send him a plan update through a text message, which a lot of coaches do that. Like Shane Hughley does that. Like a lot of coaches still use text messages for some reason. That's not organized for me because then I have like my personal texts and like then my clients. Like my message would look like 1,000 messages. I'd be like that number would like overwhelm me. So, but when I edit all of his plans in WhatsApp, I send them to him in WhatsApp, which he has WhatsApp, so he can review them there too. But then I copy them from WhatsApp and paste it into a text and send it that way as well. So I basically do double, but it's but I have all I save them in WhatsApp because like Tony, I don't know about your text, but my texts clear every 30 days.
Oh shit, nah.
I have that set. I have it set on my phone, so every 30 days it doesn't save them forever. Because the data on my phone gets so backed up, like my memory.
God, I got you.
Like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 years worth of text messages. I'm like, I don't need that. If it happened 30 days ago, I'm beyond it. Like my attention span is like 3 minutes. So like I'm looking forward. I'm not looking backwards 30 days because quite frankly, I don't care. So like I live my life like in the present moment and like what's to come. So don't dwell on the past.
It's a good little speech right there.
Yeah, I guess.
It's so hard to stay present nowadays,
That's the truth, dude. I actually struggle with that. I really remind myself as much as I can to try and stay as present as possible. I had a good friend of mine who was my first bodybuilding coach was Chris. Well, technically he was my second. My first coach was just some local guy, just like most of us start off, do our first regional show with some local guy from the gym, right? Well, I got with Chris Tuttle shortly after that, and he was my first real coach, and I worked with him for like 4 years, and we've stayed really close friends. And, he's a phenomenal prep coach, does really good work. And we were talking recently, and he goes, because he's in his 40s, right? So he was a 212 pro, now he's retired. He's lived a lot of lives already. Like he's, so many chapters to his story. He's a great guy. Good guy to maybe get on the podcast. He told me recently, he was like, whatever you do, he was like, stay in the moment and enjoy what's happening right now. He's like, because once it's over, it's over. Mm-hmm. Once it's gone, it's gone. And we were kind of talking more about like my personal bodybuilding because I've kind of like put that on the back burner to really elevate myself as a coach and be there with Tonio and guys like that. Because I've said this for a long time. My ceiling as a coach is much higher than my ceiling as an athlete. And like I still love bodybuilding. I'm having a lot of fun with it right now that my travel is over with. And I 2.5 months where I get to just bodybuild and not travel, which I'm like ecstatic about. Because I'm gonna make amazing progress in the next 3 months because I basically have been maintaining all year. Because since being in New York with Tonio, as well as the other athletes that did New York Pro, I hadn't had a weekend that I didn't have multiple athletes on stage every weekend until this weekend.
Yeah.
North Americans, I had 5 over the course of 4 days. So just boom, 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 boom. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then this weekend, I don't have anyone competing. And I'm like, it's like a vacation.
Yeah.
I'm on vacation. And it feels great. I'm home in my house, which I love. I love being home. And I love being able to work from my office because I do so much better of a job. And I don't miss things. And I'm not 3 days late on responses and stuff like that. I love it. I love what I do, but I love what I do when I can work from home instead of on the road, which is much harder to keep up with all the people who aren't competing and with me that weekend. Now, granted, it's only a short little break because I have people on stage next weekend, but that's okay. I'm not traveling, so I'll be home, and I do a damn good job, prepping people from afar. So yeah, it's good. I'm really glad to be back and be home for a while.
Always on the go. He came to Brazil with me too.
I did, yeah. That was a fun trip, though. You know what I mean? And I kind of treated that as like a vacation in a sense, because that was an opportunity to go to a country I'd never gone to, and I never would go there on my own.
Right.
It was like we had Theron there, we had Endry there, Tonio was there, I was there, and then I got to meet Johan, which was awesome, and I met Mateus there as well, and now Mateus and I are working together. And he had his best placing as a pro recently.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you're coaching him now.
That show?
That's cool.
Brazil World something. I
feel like they make enough names every year.
It wasn't too long ago. Menegate was the one who won that show. He looked phenomenal, deserved the win, but we got third. And Mateus is my height.
Yeah.
That's a guy. So I'm 5'6" on a good day, maybe 5'5.5". So as classic guys, it's hard to be competitive when you're short, right? Like we've seen classic evolve very quickly, and it's evolved into a taller division.
Yep.
Chris is tall, Dino's tall, Urs might be one of the shorter guys in that top 5.
Yeah.
Terrence is short, but again, he's kind of an outlier, right? Wesley is very
Wesley's tall. Yeah.
Sommerfeld's a lot of them are tall.
Mm-hmm.
5'10" and up is really kind of where most of them have to be. So that was cool to see, Mateus really kick some ass up there. Dude, he weighed 81 kilos on the day of the show. So he's under 100. That was under 180 pounds.
Wow. He's like 170.
He looked huge, bro.
Yeah, I thought it's bigger.
He was in the upper 170s. I think 81 kilos works out to about 178 or so. Bro, he looked massive.
Yeah.
The fact that if he wanted to, if he wasn't a pro already, he could diet down to make middleweights, which is 176 and a quarter. Dude, 2 more pounds off of where he was. I'm like, dude, just go sit in the sauna for 10 minutes and you'll be down 2 more pounds of water. Go up there and eat. That would be can you imagine that? Like a middleweight looking like that?
Yeah.
That'd be the best middleweight in the world. That's and I turned pro as middleweight. So that was crazy. Mateus is extremely gifted. And he's got a lot of room in his cap too. He can weigh I think 12 plus pounds heavier. So that's gonna be fun. Super nice guy too. Always anyone that I coach that's from a different country, they're extremely professional and very polite. It's amazing the respect they have for us as their coach. And man, I wish the Americans could take a page out of that book. It's always like, yes, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. It's and maybe it's a language barrier too, because they're maybe overdoing it with the kindness because of English is not Mateus's first language. But it goes a long way, and it's very appreciated. So I always want to make sure that they know that.
It's funny. Every time I talk to him, I call him 212.
Yeah, dude, can you imagine? He looked that good at 178, 179. Can you imagine if he just imagine if he was even just in the 190s?
Right.
But he can be in the 190s. I'm pretty sure. I want to say he can be 190. for his classic cap. I think I'm gonna have to look. I'm gonna have to look at the. I'm gonna have to look and see exactly how heavy he can be. Because when I asked him, he said he was like, I'm like 5 or 6 kilos under my cap. Well, 5 kilos would be 11 pounds.
Yeah.
Wow.
So 6 kilos would be 12.2.
So he's got a lot of room to improve then, if he wants.
Oh yeah.
Or 13.2, whatever. Yeah, lots of muscle that can be added. And he was in great shape, but I can definitely get him even tighter.
Yeah. He'll do what you say too. You can tell he listens.
Yeah, no, he does. The execution was as flawless as you could ask for. So, anyway, enough about Brazil.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go back again.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some opportunities.
I don't want
to
go back.
Vacation.
Oh, okay. You can go to if you're gonna go on a vacation, go to Rio.
That's what I said. I was like, we'll go to Rio this time.
Yeah, that would be fun, and we would have a blast, and we'll stay at a resort and be on the beach. Not in Sao Paulo in like the inner city.
Oh my god!
No disrespect to Brazil, no disrespect Sao Paulo, but like I would like to go visit the beach in Rio.
Yeah. The only thing that was mean was the heat. The humidity was crazy.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it feels like South Florida. It feels like Miami.
Yeah,
very similar climate to Miami.
I had that AC in the living room, but not in the room, so I slept on the couch.
Oh, that was why I figured that was why. I was
let the AC blow all night.
Why is he sleeping in the bed? Yeah, because I remember I slept in one of the guest rooms. That
yeah.
Because dude, I had that. You should have came and stayed at my Airbnb. It was huge, and the air conditioning worked. And there were 3 beds and a couch. Like it was just, and it was really. You would have liked it. I wish you came over and saw it. It was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was massive. Anyway, whatever. Live and learn. Good experience, but probably not going to do the Arnold again in Brazil.
Do the one in Ohio.
Yeah, right. Like it's like there's so many other shows, and for Tonio too. Like I think it would be cool for him to be able to experience some of that. Like competing at different shows. Like he's done already a lot of shows. Mm-hmm. So and like there's some shows that are worth doing twice. Like New York was worth doing twice, and Cal worked out that way. That it was like, all right, well, let's go to Cal, get our win, get our qual, and then. And then shut it down, and then that's what we did, and that's exactly what happened. So that's twice now that he's done Cal, and twice now that have you done Cal 3 times?
3 times.
Yeah, 3 times. Which part of that makes sense because geographically that's easy
right.
to just drive there. Because otherwise you have to fly to all of your shows.
Yeah.
Well, besides Legion, and I know.
Oh yeah.
Once.
Twice. Did it with Sean, and then I won it the following year.
Oh yeah, yep.
Sean
Clarita.
He did the. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He did the Open.
Yep.
You won Legion once?
Yeah.
Oh shit! Was that your first Open win?
Oh.
What year?
Yeah, Legion was the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, Chicago was close. I got second.
That would have been That would have been 2022, right?
Right.
2022, because you were at the Olympia in 2022, and that was your first time in the Open.
Yeah.
And at the Olympia.
Yep.
Okay. So that means then last year with me was your second, and then this year would be your third.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Got it. I knew all this. I just can't remember.
Thanks, Coach.
I need to refresh my memory.
Coach is on spot.
Hey, not all those shows were done with me, so it's like I know all the shows that we did together.
That's valid. That's fair.
And a handful of the ones that you did before.
Mm-hmm.
I know you won Indy 212 against Epler and Jewett.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that. Cut me some slack. Jesus.
You got to see us doing prep. The way we mess with them, like when we send check-ins. Oh yeah, when we send check-ins, I'll give them a complete off weight, like make it sound like I weight dropped or if it shot up super high. Until he sees the pictures.
Yeah.
Stress them out a little bit.
Where's the weight in your feet?
That has happened before, and I look at the pictures and I'm just like, no. I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, you're not 240 in these pictures. I'm sorry. Like, that didn't happen. It has freaked me out before. And also, too, Tonio always likes to check in with his socks on like slippery hardwood floors. So I'm like, can you take your socks off so you can like actually grip the floor and flex your legs all the way?
Oh, true.
Yeah, that's a never ending. Yeah, right. So then he won't take his socks off. He's got a weird thing about feet and about his feet.
It's a valid thing. I don't like to take my socks off indoors. Like that's definitely a thing.
Okay, yeah, but this is like he won't even. This is like at his house. He won't take his socks off indoors. It's like okay, like I can understand if you're like.
I got a one right now.
Right. Yeah, I know. And so, but it got to the point. This specifically was in Brazil. So like the weeks leading up, because he was in Brazil for 4.5 weeks, and then I went 8 days out. So I flew over 8 days out. Was there the whole week, and then, I eventually got to the point where I was like, just put your shoes on. Like, just like put your shoes on and send me your pictures that way, please. Because I'm like, because your legs are throwing me off. Because I feel like you're posing them at like 50%. But I'm like, and I can't tell. I'm like, because I'm like, you look great everywhere else, but like you're not like flexing your quads. And I'm like, what's happening here? So anyway, that was a running thing. We didn't have that problem in New York though, because there was carpet.
Yeah.
In the hotel room.
Perfect.
Carpet.
Just bring your own little strip of carpet and put it on the tile.
Right.
Yeah, we'll have to start. Yeah, it'll need to be a pretty big.
You set up the backdrop. Just set up a piece of carpet.
Yeah, it'll have to be a pretty big strip of carpet.
Yeah, or like a little prayer rug.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I blame my uncle for that.
Overcome.
Yeah. Anyway.
Then remember when we were getting a massage, the dude kept trying to take my socks off.
Yep.
You're like, hey,
oh my gosh.
So funny. Me and Theron were just dying laughing. That was the funniest thing ever. They were, dude, and also, so in that was in Brazil, and so they had the door, one of the bay doors, just wide open. So there's air conditioning going on, obviously inside, but like and it was so hot in here.
Yeah.
So like it was so hot in that place when we were there really early. And we sat around for like 2 hours, and like honestly, it kind of worked out because like Tonio dropped a ton of fluid that day, and so because like it was just so like we were all just drenched in sweat, and also like then they worked on him right there in the expo center because like they were doing that for some of the athletes, and it was just ridiculous, like. I mean, I remember him getting off the table and he's drenched in sweat. The people working on him are drenched in sweat. And like, it was just, that was an experience to say. Again, it worked out because we flushed a bunch of fluid, but it was really uncontrollable and it was kind of like a crapshoot, but it worked out. So anyway.
I couldn't imagine those masseuses working on Tonio. Like,
there was like 6, 8 of them.
Really?
He had like one person per body part.
Oh my god! I'll get like one like small Asian lady working on me, and like I'm nothing compared to that. But they'll have like sweat coming off their nose because they're just trying to get in all those knots.
Yeah. I mean, like we tried to communicate with them to not go like crazy. Yeah. Because again, was that 2 days out?
No, it was because they did the press conference.
I'm pretty sure we registered 2 days out because the was it the classic guys went the day before you, and then you guys? Yeah, I was pretty sure that was what it was.
Right.
So anyway, so it was like 2 days out. I'm like not wanting them to like cause any inflammation by like going too hard.
Right.
I mean, I don't really know if they listen because I'm watching.
No.
I'm like that looks like full force. So.
Like standing on the table, getting in there, I'm like, oh shit!
I thought that table was gonna break at some point.
Right.
That one girl was literally on top of you. I don't know.
Just digging like it was.
She was like the main masseuse lady, but like, and obviously, whatever. Johan said it. So that was all Johan doing that. But anyway,
crazy Johan.
Good memories. Yeah. Good memories. Good memories.
He's like the only trainer I know that take pre-workout before he trains someone.
Whoa.
Yeah, he kept doing that with me. I was like, he's working out.
Have you seen him with his hair?
Yeah.
Like when he did that, I couldn't. I was like, no way.
Made him look back how he did.
It was like overnight he's got hair now. So like I don't know if that's real or not, but like
oh wow, just
yeah,
put it on.
It's so funny.
So there's a video where he like went somewhere and got it done. Like the dude worked on
him. Okay.
But that's the hairstyle he had.
Quinn did the hair transplant and like that took forever. And like Johan like overnight had hair.
So I was like, he's back to how he had it back in his days of competing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, back in the day.
So yeah, I thought that was cool.
Yeah, no, he looks good with his hair now.
Well, good. So what are we at? Like 5 weeks out now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Olympia is the second week of October?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh. How you guys feeling?
Better now.
Now is probably as good of a time as ever to kind of make it known. And Tonio, jump in here, obviously, because
1 second.
Oh my god!
He disappeared.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a second.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Oh my god.
Yeah, so yesterday was exactly 5 weeks out.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday was exactly 5 weeks out.
And it's crazy because, I mean, it's not like we're trying to stay, I guess, in shape, but it's just working out that way.
Yeah. Or I guess technically Friday would have been exactly 5 days out 5 weeks out because you guys, your prejudging is at night on Friday night and then it's at night on Saturday night. But so we had a long conversation after Cal. Myself, Tonio, and Joey Belt, who is Tonio's posing coach. And the three of us have like obviously stayed very much in communication with each other on anything pertaining to like Tonio and his career. Just because like, you know, I have my opinions. Obviously it's Tonio's career at the end of the day. He's the athlete and I want him to enjoy his career, but I also want him to be involved in the decision making. It's not, I don't want it to be like, oh, well, we're Tonio's handlers and we make the decisions for him. That's not what it's like at all. It's a very much a team type of decision being made, and that's, I think, what allows things to be as smooth and as functional as they are. We had a conversation after Cal because all three shows this year, Tonio was 220 on stage. Exactly, like within a pound or so, 220. Brazil, New York, and Cal. All three different looks. We did things a little bit differently all three times. And basically, the feedback that we always get from judges has always been about just putting on more size, just coming back bigger. You know what I mean? And like anybody that watches the shows that we do and that we compete in, you know, Tonio's one of the shorter guys on the stage for the Open. And he's one of the, I don't like using the word smaller, but even though like
lighter.
Yeah. There you go.
He's one of the lightest guys on the stage. So from a, you know, pounds per square inch, he's not packing the same amount of guest tissue as, you know, guys like Nick Walker, guys like Hunter Labrada, guys like Andrew Jacked. And these are the people that we know that he has the potential to be able to stand next to and get into the upper echelons of bodybuilding. And while, yes, last year we were able to crack the top 10 and make it all the way up to 8th place, which was a phenomenal accomplishment. It was a crazy look. I mean, arguably one of the hardest, if not the hardest guy on stage at the Olympia last year. I mean, after prejudging, Tonio was kind of the talk of prejudging. We nailed it Friday night.
Yeah.
Absolutely nailed it. And then just came back even fuller and crazier for the finals. That was a lot of fun. Crazy look, awesome. Wish we could have had a little bit more time to guess, kind of almost like just like relish in that, like, you know, just like chill out and, you know, kind of like enjoy what we just accomplished. But, you know, things didn't work out that way with just the scheduling of everything and Tonio's flights going back and whatnot. But we talked about it, and realistically, we wouldn't have a ton of time from Cal until the Olympia to really put on a bunch of muscle. Like real tissue, right?
Yeah, not what we wanted.
Real tissue takes time to put on. And obviously having to stay in striking distance to the Olympia, I can't feed him and get him huge, and then risk not having enough time to get it back off. I also wanted him to be able to have a good break from the PEDs.
Sure.
Because our contest history, if you go back to 2023, the 2 shows Tonio did that weren't with me, he did New York Pro and Cal. So obviously there was PEDs used for the prep for those shows. He took a break, and then now remember the Olympia was in November last year, so there was an extra month that you could kind of use as that break. He took a break, and then came to me, and then there wasn't like a ton of time that really was able to be spent kind of like, I guess, off, and not like a ton of time really spent in an off season. So then we started our prep at 20 weeks out from the Olympia and I told them that my goal for the Olympia was, hey, we're going to nail conditioning, because the Olympia traditionally has been a conditioning contest. Not verbatim that, but like you have to bring the conditioning to the Olympia, or you're just not going to get a look. So that's what we did, and that's how it all worked out, right? So if you think about it, he competed in May, twice in May, and then again in November of 2023. We had a very short layover between then competing again in April for the Arnold.
Yeah.
Then we did May 15th for the New York Pro, and then May 21st or 22nd?
Yeah.
May 22nd for Cal. So like when you couple all that together, one, that's not a time we never really had a lot of time to really grow. Never really had a ton of time to like let his health come back. You know what I mean? Like time off the PEDs is important for these guys.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to us managing his blood work and making sure that he's internally healthy. Because that's how we're going to keep you guys in the game for as long as we can. Longevity has to be the priority when you're talking to open bodybuilding, because it simply takes that long to get your physique up to that point from a muscularity standpoint.
Someone's watching Nickelodeon or something.
Yeah, I could hear it. So anyway, long story short, but those are the reasons why we decided that we're not going to do the Olympia this year. We're going to sit out. There have been other people in the past that have sat out. I mean, Jen Dory, the reigning Miss Olympia bikini competitive, athlete, is sitting out this year. Jay Cutler has sat out of an Olympia. There's been last year there were a lot of guys that didn't make it to the stage for a bunch of different reasons: retirement, either having issues with health, not being able to make it from visa issues, whatever. Regardless of the reasoning, it's in our best interest and Antonio's best interest, and this is something that we talked about at length, to take the time, let his body get healthy, spend plenty of time without anything, and then really focus on driving his weight up, putting on as much muscle as we can, so that way when we do come back to the stage, he's coming back with 10 plus pounds of new tissue. It's not like a short time that we're not trying to grow 10 pounds of muscle in 5 months.
Right.
We've talked about this, and it's like, hey, we're committed to achieving a certain goal, a certain physique that we're looking for, as well as we've got some weight goals in there as well. Tonio stays, relatively lean year round. So
yeah, very lean.
Yeah. We can hit those weight goals while he stays in that typical condition that he just kind of walks around at. Well, then there's no way that we wouldn't have that grown.
Right.
Right now, you're sitting in like the low 250s, and this is like close to the heaviest that you've been since I've worked with you.
Mm-hmm.
We have aspirations to put on maybe another 20 pounds, and it's not going to happen overnight. So that's kind of where we're at with his career. Again, he's in his early 30s, so these are the prime years to really grow. Tonio, you talked to Dexter and Melvin Anthony.
Yeah. And they talk about it too. Not to rush anything. Take your time. Keep doing what we're doing. It's to stay in the game as long as we can. You know what I mean? You get people who rush it and, cram all this shit in. And it also gives the muscle a certain look. It's big, that soft muscle compared to the hard grainy that we bring to Olympia. We don't do much. We don't blast a lot. So it's not as fast of growth of what we could get out of it, but again, like you said, staying healthy. I have kids, and that was the biggest, takeaway from when he was telling me to go off season. And that's when, like you said, how you guys feeling? I said, better now. Because at first I couldn't wrap my head around it. I was like,
Like, you want
I don't know.
Not do the Olympia?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy. Yeah, it's kind of a crazy premise, and like, and that's okay. Like, I'll take the heat for it. You know what I mean? Because it was my idea, and because I know that like we just qualified for the O. He's like, all right, let's go. Like, I'm ready to do it. Let's kill this.
Yeah.
Let's bring a better package this year to the O than we did last year. Which we could do that. That doesn't guarantee us a better placing though.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Obviously, this Olympia lineup is loaded, and
right.
Last year was pretty loaded too. But again, it wasn't until very late in the game when a lot of guys just couldn't show up. So again, it is what it is. And now, looking back on it in hindsight, being 2020, I do truthfully feel like we made the right move. And it's, again, like I said, like I'll take the heat for it. Like, I know people are going to come at me and they're going to say that was dumb. You stole an Olympia from a guy. Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, what I'm trying to do is look past short-term wants for long-term needs.
Yeah.
So long-term needs for Tonio is time off, prioritizing his health, and then growing muscle. Those are the three things that, in the time that we had worked together, because of no fault of anyone's, but obviously us wanting to be competitive, and and then Dragon definitely was integral in us doing the Arnold Brazil.
Absolutely.
Since they're a Brazilian-based company, and obviously we wanted to do that show because it's a big show, and we got a chance to stay next to a great athlete and compete with one of the best in the world. And all that does is good things for us, because we continuously are putting ourselves on stage against the world's best. And again, same thing happened in New York. We got to stand next to Nick Walker, stand next to Martin Fitzwater, and then took a third there. Hey, took it on the chin. Then we went to Cal and got our win.
Right.
But again, overlooking short-term wants for long-term needs, for us to be able to make the progress that we needed to make, it was going to have to happen eventually. So it was either do the Olympia this year, then take all of next year off, come back in 2025, or we could start our process of improving now.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what we opted for. It's like, well, the Olympia kind of sets back our plan of trying to take time off the PEDs, get you healthy, really let your body grow, also get some of our personal affairs in order and whatnot, which, Tonio's done a great job of that, which is going to be extremely important for his long-term progress, as well as his, the mental health that comes with being able to have your own personal affairs in order, which I'm very happy about. All of that was really the catalyst behind this. And honestly, it all kind of ended up coming into fruition exactly how we wanted it, in the sense of we had a lot of moving parts and they all kind of meshed well together once we finally decided for certain. It's like, we are sitting out this year, we're growing, and we are going to kind of build back some structure into a long-term plan, because up to this point, our plans had to be relatively short-term, because it was Olympia, November, get healthy, try and put some weight back on, and then start prep for Brazil, which then was a continuance of that prep into New York, which is a continuance into Cal.
Yeah.
And this was our first opportunity, because when Tony and I started working together last June, because it's been over a year now, we had a little bit of time to put some weight on him, maybe 2 months.
Yeah.
Then we started prep. So it was I think, I want to say it was early July or so, maybe mid-July, because that prep I can go into if you want, but I didn't start bringing him down weight-wise until about 12 weeks out. I started actually feeding him up from as long as I had until about the 12 weeks. I was trying to keep him as big as possible for the 2023 Olympia, and then when I brought him down, it's just it just fell off, and it just the conditioning came in fast.
Yeah. When you said big, like what kind of weight? What kind of weight were you looking at? Like 250s to?
Yeah, I mean, I think we were kind of trying to keep in the 240s, 250s for just as long as we could going
Right.
into last year, which was a stretch because like up to that point that had been about the heaviest that he'd really been.
Yeah.
While being on like a regimented plan, right?
Right.
Like eating chicken and rice, like as like all of our meals, as opposed to like having some of the lackadaisicalness that comes with the off season,
Sure.
and some of the free foods and stuff. But we were holding there for a while, and then that was then it just well, like the composition just kept kind of getting better through the training, the cardio, and obviously like PED usage makes a big difference with that too. And then it was 12 weeks out when I was like, okay, here's comes like the first real phase where I'm going to do a big cardio, bump in cardio, a big calorie pull, and start letting things drop. But I'm a carb cycler, so like I would only let him drop so much before I'm then like throwing food at him. Which we tried structured high days, and then like that prep for whatever reason, it just got to a point where I was like, just go have cheat meals.
Yeah.
It was just easier for him to get an abundance of calories in because it was like feeding him to get his weight up would have just taken so much rice that it's like almost an insurmountable amount to actually eat.
Yeah.
So it got to the point where it was just like, hey, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, go get like 3 cheat meals. And like that was the only way I could get him to gain like 3 to 4 pounds back for like a refeed. And he'd look crazy for a couple of days, and then we'd hit a new low within like 3 or 4 days, and we would just repeat that.
Right.
Yeah, like that body just did not want to keep that weight on.
Yeah, it was just, I mean, we had metabolic function in such a good place that it just kind of fell off. And, and like, that's not how we do it every prep. Like this, the Arnold Brazil prep, we definitely did more structured refeeds with with one cheat meal at the end of the night.
Yeah.
It was like we did like burgers and fries as like our like cheat meal going into that show. And then even going into the Olympia when I was kind of like starting to load, I started slowly loading around, it was like 2 days out. But again, you got to remember it's a nighttime prejudging. So like even if you wake up a little flat on prejudging, the day of prejudging, you've got 5 meals before you're going to be on stage. So it's like you got a lot of time. We were doing some burgers and fries at night, and he was waking up like flat. The next morning, really flat. This was for last year's Olympia, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "What's going on?" And they were upsetting his stomach to the point where he was having like diarrhea.
Wow.
Going to the bathroom.
None of that food was sticking because it was just his. Again, you are what you absorb. So just like those nutrients just weren't getting absorbed because they were just whatever we were eating them, and like his body was just like no
expelling it,
flushing it out. And I was like, this doesn't even make sense. So we ditched the burgers and fries and then just did bacon.
Wow.
Yeah, because it was because it's easy to track the calories of the bacon. So we just went back to chicken, rice, macadamia oil, and bacon for the Olympia. And that was what worked out well for that prep. But yeah, sorry, not to get sidetracked, but yeah, like this year, so we won't be on stage at this year's Olympia with the goal of really just not necessarily like a set show in mind for our comeback of just like whenever his physique is ready. We're just going to take the time because I have a vision for what I know that his physique can look like. And I know that the size that he carries in his offseason was like really full and really big. I'm like, we can have that on stage, but we just got to get a little bit bigger so that size sticks around when I get all of the body fat off of it.
Yeah.
And that's, again, and like Tonio doesn't need to be a guy that's 250 pounds on stage. He can be in the 230s on stage and be crushing it. And like there's a reason that people compare him to Dexter Jackson because of not only his frame, but also his relative size. Because Dexter, in relative size, he was not the biggest guy on the stage. Never was. He was actually almost always the undersized guy, but he was beautifully symmetrical. Again, they called him the Blade because he was always in shape. And, for a host of other reasons, he was, he's the winningest bodybuilder of all time. He's a freak, a vampire.
Yep.
But I don't see any real reason that we can't be similar to that. I think Tonio can compete into his 40s. As long as we keep staying healthy and we keep doing things the right way, like we have been, it's not a matter of like, well, we only got good 4 or 5 good years left. It's like, no, dude, like we have as much time as your physique is going to give us, and we haven't done anything extreme or anything like that. And again, he grows easily when you actually like put him in an environment to grow. But I want that muscle to stick, so you need to let that weight that you gain kind of marinate a little bit, so that way it's not just pulled right off when you start dieting.
Right.
So that's our big announcement, really.
All right. We're gonna take a quick break because I am dancing. I have to pee so bad. I feel like I'm crying. I have to pee so bad. So give me like.
You gotta keep a cup with you.
I was gonna see if I could finish my water, my non-branded shaker cup, and I'd have to like be like. It would be questionable. They're like, "Wow, Sanch is really excited about this Olympia announcement." All right, guys, we will be right back.
Got you. Oh, shit.
I'm going to use this time to go to the bathroom too, actually.
Yup. They
Good Lord.
Just show me the video.
Which one?
See if you can see it.
Oh, a little bit more in. Or up.
Yeah.
I can see like just a corner of it.
Oh wait.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Oh yeah, there you are. How cool is that?
Yeah.
So you're doing security, and they're just like, bring out this big old fucking dude.
That's funny. Like all the kids ran up to me and were like trying to shake my hand and everything.
Wow.
Tim wants to find out who is Tonio.
Yeah. So then after that, everybody was like, "Yo, you're famous now," because it was in a town called Gardnerville out here.
Yeah.
And it's there's Gardnerville, Douglas, Carson, Dayton, Minden. Those cities were all out there. Smith Valley, so it was huge event to where the fire marshals and everything came to an outdoor event to make sure capacity wasn't broken.
Yeah.
So it was just insane. But like the amount of messages I've been getting on Instagram and tags that are coming in from it now is just ridiculous.
Little do they know you're one of the best in the world for competitive bodybuilding.
Right. And so that was for the flex cam, and they just thought I was just, some regular person. And then they found out I was Olympian, and then it was like, this makes sense. Now he's in the show.
Oh, man. That's pretty funny. I can't believe like the camera cut out right at 20 minutes. I was like, God dang it.
Oh, did it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because now I'm using the webcam. It's so annoying, dude.
Why does it do it? Does it fall asleep or?
Well, the camera settings, I have the sleep mode disabled. So it's something to do with I have an Elgato capture cam card, which it kind of allows the camera to upload into that before it gets into the stream. It makes everything cleaner.
Ah, gotcha.
And for some reason, every like 30 minutes, there's like a little light on it. The light will just turn off.
Oh, wow.
And once that happens, then I have to unplug it and plug it back in. And if I'm not recording, if I'm live streaming, it's not a problem because you just unplug it, plug it back in, and it fixes itself. But on this, once you unplug a device, you can't switch recording devices while you're recording.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'd have to like stop the record, and then that messes up all the AI that goes on in the background on Riverside. And I don't want to do that because this thing does all the transcripts and the subtitles and the shorts. Everything's automatically generated through AI. So I don't want to have multiple clips.
Right.
So,
Hunter won.
Oh, already?
Very surprised.
Yeah, right.
In surprising news.
Well, it's 6 hours ahead. I'm pretty sure Italy is anywhere between 5 and 6 hours ahead of us.
Yeah.
My time. So it's almost 3 p.m. my time. So 5 or 6 hours ahead would put it anywhere between 8 and 9 p.m. over there. So not surprised.
Yeah. That's what we were talking about when we started. Hunter's going to win.
Yeah.
Andrea Presti was second, but I think Andrea Presti will probably win in UK. There's a UK show, I believe, next week.
Him and Patrick
Moore. Oh, he's doing that?
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that card.
Yeah, he's locked in.
Got it.
I thought he was going to do Legion.
Bodybuilding News Network on Instagram.
He might do Legion still, because that's for next year. But
I talked with his coach, and his coach told me that he was going to be doing Legion. So that's
okay. So that's why he always does Legion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was surprised.
But Brett's doing it too.
Yeah, I was going to say Brett Wilkins doing Legion. And
yeah, he's huge right now.
It'll be Brett, Jason Lowe, Patrick Moore. Vlad is doing the UK. I don't know if he's doing Legion.
I got you.
So.
Yeah, no, Brett is massive.
Yeah, and I don't know. Another perfect example of a guy that was qualified for the O, having health issues. He had a gut issue last year. He was forced to sit out, and and is now actually not doing the Olympia this year either, because Legion is a qualifier for next year's Olympia.
Oh wow!
He's not qualified for this year's Olympia. So just an example of exactly what we were talking about, of where, now, was he forced to sit out because of his health issues? Yes. Are we forced to? No, we're not being forced to, but we're making the smart decision for what's best for the athlete. Just like
you guys don't want to get to the point where you are being forced because of
health.
Right.
Get ahead of it.
Right. It's like, let's just play this. Let's just be smart with your career. And then also too, like, the next thing after this is going to be, let's pick our shows wisely for like our timetable. You know what I mean? So we're not doing a show that then qualifies us where we're like within 20 weeks of the, like, it's just, there's a lot of thought and planning that needs to go into this at this level. And obviously I'm learning as I go. Tonio is my top athlete. He's the only one that I have that's like, very consistently in the Olympia picture. And I have others that are very much contenders to get to the Olympia. I had a couple of second place finishes this year with some other pros.
Right.
Kelly got second. He arguably should have won that show in San Diego, and she's an Olympian. She's been to the Olympia, so
she's a monster too for wellness.
Yeah, monster. So, and she's growing super well. She's having a really great start to her off season. So I'm very proud of her and excited for that. And then, I had a second place finish with Mike Condell, and then a third place finish with him in Chicago. So he's a 212er that's like right on the cusp. He's a rookie too.
Yeah.
Can't really call him a rookie because he's like 34, and he turned pro with me in 2021. Took 3 years off before doing his pro debut, but it's okay. He came back. 15 pounds heavier.
Yeah, because he didn't light heavy, right?
Yeah, so but I think he was, but he wasn't like maxed out. I think he was like 194 on the day of the show.
Right.
And then I think for South Florida, he was like 208. 208, 207. That's a lot of muscle, man.
Yeah, hell yeah.
On an already like pretty densely muscled guy. He's huge in person.
Yeah, he's a big boy, yeah. He looks bigger than that.
Yeah, because like, again, he's short like me.
Mike, he's one of the ones I sent you for the podcast.
Oh, Connell, right? Connell?
Yeah.
Sure.
Kendall, yeah.
Yeah, he's ready. He said he's ready too.
Things right, yeah.
We should have pulled him on here as well.
he's coming. Yeah, he's coming. Yeah, we'll figure it
he's
out.
A very well spoken guy too. So yeah, this is Mike.
Yeah, I watched him turn pro too. I went out there.
Oh, him
you were there. Yeah, so Mike's on the left, and then that was Bo Lewis in the middle, and then Marcelo actually on the far right was the one who won that show.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, Mike is close.
Yeah, good lineup. Very good lineup for the Chicago Pro.
Yeah. I don't know when we're going to get him in here, but we definitely will. We got a pretty stacked lineup coming into the Olympia for sure.
What is Foucane's first name? Or Enrique Foucane or something like that? I think that's his name. He works with Patrick Tour. He was the one who won the South Florida Pro.
Oh, okay.
So he got the O-Qual there. He's a phenomenal athlete, really good.
Marcelo Alfonsi?
Yeah. He won Chicago.
Yep. And then you just said Hunter won Italy?
Yeah, Hunter just won Italy. Andrea Presti was second. I think that was actually a competitive show. I do not think that was like a slam dunk, home run, walk away victory for Hunter.
Oh, really?
No, I think Andrea Presti won some of those shots.
Yeah,
he was
got
the
you.
most conditioned guy on that stage. Like his
conditioning is always good.
His conditioning was really, really good. I think Buys and Tries put up some pictures.
I think this is Buys. Yep.
I think they've got even some some comparison photos.
Oh, comparisons.
Or that one right here, yeah. So I mean,
it's hard to tell.
So that's I think that's Lorenzo on the far right. That's Bruno on the far left.
Yep.
And then Hunter and Andrea in the middle. I mean, Hunter definitely improved a good bit. His legs are great, world-class legs. Andrea needs bigger legs.
Yeah, he does. Yep.
But his conditioning is second to none. Andrea Presti brings conditioning like crazy. I got to give him his flowers.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there were definitely some poses where I'm like, okay, I actually think I have Andrea here. In some of these poses, I don't think this was like by any means an easy victory.
Got you.
I think it was, in my opinion, I think that they worked him for sure. So.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out after this because I definitely didn't see any footage besides the one video I posted quickly on my other channel on BNN.
Okay. Yeah, I think I saw a video of the first call out. I think of them just doing a couple of, not a whole lot of poses. I think it was maybe a 1 minute video and they got through a couple of poses, but
yeah, it's definitely close. Andre, that's his main critique is the legs, is just the thickness.
Yeah, he needs more there. I think he might be a little downsized here compared to what he's been in the past because he had that stomach sickness that he got earlier this season. He was in prep for a show, and I guess, and I think it was Buys and Tries covered it, and I think he documented it himself, Andrea. But I want to say he lost 15, 20 pounds from he had an infection in his gut or something like that.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't be surprised because I thought he announced he was done for the season, and then he just showed up on the scorecard.
I didn't know that he was doing this show either.
No one did.
I thought after he got sick, I thought he was gonna. It was shutting it down for a bit and taking some time off.
Yep.
Because his physique really had shriveled up after he got sick, but I'm glad to see him back. I mean, I'm a fan of his physique.
Yeah, he's one of those European guys that it always shows up solid.
Yeah, and great. I like his taper. He's got a good waist. He's got really good wide flaring lats from the front and the back. Always comes in crazy conditioned. But yeah, I mean, he's also a taller guy.
Yep.
As you can see, I mean, he's a good bit taller than Hunter, it looks like.
Yeah.
So he's definitely got some frame to still fill out, but I don't think he's terribly old too. I don't even think he's in his mid-30s, so I think he's got a lot of life left to him. So, I won't say I'm terribly familiar with his career, but
he's done. He won the Europa Pro, European Championships. I don't know what they call it. There's some of the names are a little tricky, but he won that 3 years in a row, I think.
For all of those names, yeah.
Yeah, I was just joking with Tonio before we started. The Italy just needs to have one massive show a year, maybe two, but it needs to be the Italy Pro and the Flex Weekend. Just have two.
Right.
But every year they keep adding. The one that just happened was the Muscle Pro. Muscle Pro. That doesn't tell me anything. Yeah, and there's no tag for it. There's no show. You can't just Muscle Pro.
Right.
You get some random talk show.
Yeah, right. I mean, I totally agree.
On the journalist side, I need some consistency. I need to get excited. Like if I'm going to look up the Battle Up Productions Texas Pro, I'm going to find it. If I'm going to look up Tim Gardner's Chicago Pro, I'm going to find it.
Yeah.
Bev's Gym New York. They don't actually have a page for it, but you know it's Bev's, so you just look that up.
Yep.
Right.
It's not hard. But some of these shows are still playing catch up.
Yeah. It's actually it's an NPC Northeast is the Bev's. That's the like Steve and Bev. Like that's their promoting company. It's called NPC Northeast.
Oh, okay.
And I think like that couples the New York Pro in there as well.
Yeah.
It's not NPC obviously, but you get the point too.
Yep.
Like Universe is in there as well. They own that show. They promote a lot of other smaller regional shows throughout the Northeast. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Some into New England, PA, New York.
Yeah.
That's where I'm from. I grew up in upstate New York. So the first several shows that I ever did were Bev shows. So I just looked at NPC Northeast every year to figure out what show I was going to do and pick the date. And then I was like, that's how I did it. My first year. So.
That's smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get into the on-site commentary right now. And once I get back to California, the Muscle Contest has a lot of shows, so I should be getting a lot of opportunities, hopefully. But I'm trying to break in. There's this show this weekend called the Battle. Let me see if I can find it. The Battle Royale.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's in Laurel, Maryland, so it's 10 minutes from me, and it's a veteran. It's like one of the parts is like mostly about first responders and military
heroes, the heroes division.
Heroes, yeah. Yep, so I was talking with the promoter, and fingers crossed I get my press pass approved because it's been declined before. So the funny thing is I've been to the Olympia as media, I've been to the Arnold Classic as media, and I've been to the LA Fit Expo and the Evo Sports Festival. So I've done it before.
You went out to Prague for the Evos?
No, a different, not Prague, but there's one in San Francisco called the Evo.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a different one. No, if I went over,
right? EVLS, that brand.
Yeah, Eval, yeah, whatever it's called, Prague. Okay. That's different. The one I'm talking about is EVO.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got you.
I was like, damn, you went out to Prague?
No, if I flew out all the way out there, it'd be for like the Arnold UK or I don't know.
Well, dude, the Prague Pro,
it's pretty big, right?
Show.
It's a massive show, but I feel like I'd go to like Italy or something, like try to make it worth have fun. I'd go to Dubai. If I went overseas, it'd be Dubai or it'd be a Hide's show in Japan. Those would be the two shows.
I had a 212er Mohammed and Bobby do the Dubai Pro this year, and crazy. What Bader Badai and those guys are doing over there is just wild.
Yeah, I might throw my hat in there and just see if they'll just hire me to come out there, and I'll do anything.
The VIP area that you could see sometimes, like if the camera like panned out and like looked, you could see like where the VIP area looked, and then there was like general admission seating. General admission just looked like any other seat that we would know. Their VIP area, it was like a lounge. It was like a couch, and like there was like it looked like bottle service in front of them. It's like, oh my god.
That's the show for next year.
That was dope though, as I'm just like, yeah, I mean they've got the money like that, so it's like, well shoot, like, all right, like hell yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Who won the Open at the Dubai Pro?
Behrooz, wasn't it?
It was either Behrooz
Behrooz beat Nathan.
Bonac.
Oh, he beat Bonac.
Yeah, Behrooz got it.
Okay. Because Rubio was there, Neckzilla.
Yep, he got fourth.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, yeah, that was Behrooz.
Mm-hmm. But
that dude, that's who I'm hoping can make it to Olympia.
He's done till next year's Detroit, I think he said. Was it Detroit?
Behrooz?
No, not Behrooz. I was talking about Rubio.
No, yeah, I was saying Behrooz. I hope he can make it down to Olympia.
Yeah, but it would be nice to see him on stage. He would really mix up a
lot.
Dude. We could probably jump right into our like predictions, but if he shows up, I mean, who in the top 7 right now could he?
He's going into the top 5.
You think top 5, really?
Easy.
Well, who's your top 5 then?
Well, if Behrooz can come, I'll definitely throw him in there.
Yeah,
I'll throw him in the 5th.
5th. Wow.
Yeah.
So who beats out Behrooz then? If he's
because Derek,
Derek,
Hadi. I think Nick still comes in. Samson. With Behrooz and Andrew, I think Behrooz gets Andrew.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because he's just
look at the back.
Yeah, because he's just so much more conditioned.
Mm-hmm. And Andrew from the front, no one can mess with him
either.
You know, so I don't think anyone can really compete with Andrew from the front. But when you get him towards the side shots and back, Behrooz can, he's definitely going to move in on that.
Yeah, you can see the weaknesses in Andrew's physique when he gets to the side shots and then the back shot. He's just a little light on the hamstrings, and then like the detail in those parts of his legs, his side leg, his hamstrings, his glutes. It's just still nailing the conditioning, which is getting better every time. And obviously, give the guy his credit. I mean, he only just started bodybuilding like a couple of years ago. You know, because obviously, I mean, like you see that shot from the front for Andrew is like really daunting. Like, all the shots from the front
it's like his signature
are really daunting. And they're, you know, it looks like picture perfect. But then again, I mean, like, let's give Behrooz some credit here. He's maybe a little bit longer torsoed. So you can see like the torso length on Andrew isn't quite as long, I guess, as Behrooz is, right? So like the bottom of his lats to the top of his quads, there's a little bit more space there on Behrooz than there is on Andrew.
Right.
Does that hurt him or does that help him?
Well, so I personally think that it hurts him because it's empty space that can't really have muscle grown there, right? So there's nothing he can do about that. And then, I mean, front lat spread is like kind of a kill shot for Andrew. I mean, like, I don't know if he's got a better front lat spread than he does, to be perfectly honest. Because
his abs.
The abs and everything just balls up. But then, like, here are shots where, like, I think that, like, even I would give Martin this shot on Andrew, to be perfectly honest.
Honestly,
thickness
Martin
of the
looks
side leg, conditioning, arm thickness to chest thickness to shoulder thickness. Behrooz has the crazy legs from the side with the detail and like his chest and everything too. He could pose this a little bit better. I don't really like the way he's hitting this. But again, I digress. But I would say out of these three here on a side chest, I mean, I'm putting Andrew in third.
Right.
From these three. Yeah. Now I think that you need to hit a side tricep the right way. I don't think you can do the staggered one. So I think that the way Martin's hitting it needs to be fixed. I just don't think that that's how you should be hitting it, you know? And again, this is not a super strong pose for Andrew. Now
it looks like he can't even turn all the way.
Yeah, right. It looks a little bit of a mobility issue. Whereas like out of these three, I would give Behrooz this one.
Right.
And we're talking 3 different stages, 3 different lightings. The camera distance from the person is different. Again, like I'm only going off of what I'm looking at here. But
sometimes that's all we get to do, you know.
That's all
How often do you get to travel to the Detroit Pro, the Texas Pro, and the Dubai Pro in the same year?
Now this picture, for whatever reason, like this isn't showing, in my opinion, what Behrooz really possesses, because he's not locked in on his hamstrings or on his glutes. But like there's more than enough.
What are we doing here?
There's more than enough. There's more than enough detail. There's more than enough photo evidence and stage evidence of him absolutely just like murdering these back shots.
Right.
But as far as the back goes, like I think Martin hits this really, really, really well. Andrew still is very impressive when he does, you know, lat spreads, whether it's from the front or from the back. But again, just getting more of that detail in that skin on his hamstrings and glutes is going to be
on his glutes, right?
And I can say this with a reasonable amount of certainty because I sat front row in VIP at Texas.
Really?
So I'm arm's distance back from the judges, and
that's amazing.
You know, I watched him in person, and then they came into the crowd, and the entrance to coming into the crowd was in front of me. So, and I have the video on my phone, so like I saw him super up close and in person. He's really impressive. Like he's extremely impressive. I haven't seen Behrooz like that before, but I definitely think those two could definitely be like, you know, they're going to be in if they can get Behrooz into the country, because that's been his issue with visas.
That's the catch.
He see this back double for Behrooz is monster.
Yeah.
Like that's phenomenal. This is still something that Andrew I think needs to bring up.
Right.
But Martin is really good from the back. So all of Martin's shots are really good from the back. He's just super thick through his back, like ridiculous.
On the last podcast I did on Bodybuilding News Network, I had an episode of Bodybuilding and Friends, and we had EP09, Project Bodybuilding, Xavier Willis with Desktop, and Mark. Shout out to Mark. And the way Project said, he said that Martin wins more poses versus Andrew Jacked. So he said he would not be surprised if Martin places higher than Andrew Jacked at the Olympia.
I mean, I could see it. I mean, we competed against Martin in New York, and he edged us out. So, and he was better in New York than he was in Detroit. And I believe these pictures are from Detroit.
Right.
Yeah, I think so too. Yep.
And my guess is, because the guy does make a ton of progress when he's locked in. My guess is he's going to be better at the Olympia.
He is the dark horse pick. Him and
I agree.
Andrew to place high.
The only people who I think are so there's 4 people who I feel like are a lock for the top 4. Well, they're a lock to make it into the top 5, in my opinion. I think Derek is a lock, obviously. I think Hadi is a lock. I think Samson's a lock, and then I have Nick as a lock.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, he was really in the running last year to potentially
he was
win
in the
the
talk
show.
to win.
Right.
Leading up, people were picking him to win.
I had him winning.
A lot of votes for him to win until he got hurt.
Right.
And honestly, dude, he probably still could have placed top 5 if he could have even stood on that leg.
Yeah.
But he couldn't even stand on it. So even if you went back to the old school posing where your plant leg, you don't really contract a whole lot.
Like Dorian.
You just contract the leg that you kick back. I feel like he does well enough in a lot of poses. Again, Nick really dominates back shots. Back double, one of the best in the world. I don't know about the lat spread. I'd have to see them all next to each other.
Yeah,
back double is a monster shot for him.
Right.
And then obviously from the front, he's
in the sides.
He crushes side shots. I don't know if anyone's got a bigger side chest.
In the way he moves his midsection, it really distorts it to where it looks so small. It's I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, he knows his angles for sure. And I mean, obviously a guy that's built like him has to work on that, like with his posing, on midsection control, working his angles, always being in the right again, you're talking about the Olympia here. It's like, this is about presentation and display and illusion. It's like, well, this is, all of them do that. Hadi's known for working the line.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Always been known for creeping the line. So now these are going to be these comparisons are going to be a lot more tough in my opinion, because
it's hard.
These are 2 very different bodybuilders that, unless they're standing next to each other, are going to be difficult to compare.
Absolutely.
But again, if we go pose for pose, Nick wins both side shots. Nobody beats Andrew in the front lat spread, so that's
right.
It's a wash.
Front double, I guess it depends. That side tricep's been ridiculous.
The front shots.
If you really look at it from a waist perspective, everyone talks about Andrew's waist. It's small. Don't get me wrong, because of obviously how wide he is in through his shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
But I bet you, if you measured his waist and measured Nick's, I bet you it's not all that far off.
They look very similar.
Right, and again, this is camera angles and stuff. We don't know exactly, what's going on there. But what are some of the next shots? We have
back lats.
Okay. See,
that lower half.
It's hard for me to not give that to Nick because of just how dominating his legs are.
Right.
I mean, he's still great through the back. You know what I mean? He's still very big, very dominant there. I think Andrew might have a little bit more thickness through his erectors, but the leg thickness and detail from the back, nobody's legs look like Nick Walker's from the back. No, I mean he tucks his glutes and his adductors still drop. You have to flare to get your adductors.
Him and Phil down. For those piano wires.
Him and Phil, yeah. Which so then this back double is Nick all day.
Mm-hmm.
Too hard, too grainy. And again, there's no waist comparison in the back double, so I think that takes that one out of the comparison.
Oh yeah, good point.
I'm going to give this to Andrew.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough one.
Just too aesthetically pleasing. You know what I mean? And he hits it so effortlessly. Most muscular, I think Nick can just about.
I would agree.
Muscular.
Yep.
I mean, that's his shot. You know what I mean? He's the freak. So there's a lot of Andrew takes shots from everybody. There are some shots front relaxed. He's untouchable. I think there's only a handful of guys that can really compete with him in the front double and in the front lat spread. But then the rest of the body and the rest of the poses, there's more than enough to compete with.
Then it comes down to who's in better shape, who's
right. Then it comes exactly. Then it comes down
who
to
you're next to,
who's winning conditioning here, and then because I can promise you this, Nick is going to be in great shape. Going to be in great shape.
Everyone's comparing him from that New York look. But we know that wasn't the best look.
Not his best look.
And that might have been one of Nick's best looks he's ever put on stage, to be perfectly honest. He was very good at New York. Did very good.
Yeah.
Again, we saw that. Tonio competed against him. I'm there in the crowd and, watching it. And that was a very good Nick Walker there. But I know that what they're going to bring to the Olympia is going to be way crazier. Nick is also back down here in Florida. And is training at the Raw gym now, so he's got Matt's eyes on him in person.
So he's not in Las Vegas then?
No, he hasn't been in Vegas since New York Pro.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, so
was that more of a prep strategy, or?
I think it was a prep and personal life strategy, honestly. He just wanted to come back around the people that I think needs to be around, and just a chapter in his life that he needed to go do. I think he needed to go to Vegas for a period of time. That was a chapter in his life, and this is me speculating. I mean, yes, I know him personally, but I've never talked to him about this stuff, so I'm speculating. But I think that I think right here, he's where he belongs right now, and I think he's in a good place too. So, which I'm happy for him, obviously. So he's a good dude.
Okay.
And then Derek, I think, as good as it comes. Obviously.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to be better
drastically from last year, so he's going to be extremely difficult to beat for a while.
Right.
Hottie, I think, he's a former Mr. Olympia, always brings it crazy. And, again, at the end of the day, we got to remember Hottie Rambod is his coach.
Yeah. And Hottie does not miss.
Hottie doesn't miss very much, if ever. So, Samson, it's hard to call a guy that places third at the Olympia a dark horse, but Hottie did beat him twice this year.
Mm-hmm.
And Hottie at the Arnold and at the Arnold UK kind of reminded everybody just how good he is. Because he was way better at the Arnold and at the Arnold UK than he was at the Olympia.
That's what I heard, yeah.
So, well, again, even speaking from it, candidly, again, Tonio was there at the Olympia last year. Tonio's conditioning and peak, we had the best peak Friday night, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Hard as nails, dry as fuck. His glutes were the hardest on that stage at prejudging on Friday night. It's funny because, obviously the athletes are always usually the ones talking about it. It is difficult to hold that look, but we did it. We did it, so it obviously can be done. And then Friday night we just capitalized on that. But Friday at the Olympia, Friday night really matters, and it's huge. I don't think I would have loved for them to give Tonio a look next to Krizo for 7th. I think the size disparity and the fact that he was in great shape. He had striated glutes. He was shredded. He came back way better at finals than he did at prejudging. I would have liked them to give us a look there and maybe see if we can get one more spot. But we were as high as they were probably going to put us due to the size.
Right.
Antonio was 215 on stage at prejudging.
Really?
He woke up the morning of prejudging at 212.
Yeah.
212 and change. But
you gotta hate it. Oh.
Yeah, and that was a night. So that was a night where he dropped 6 pounds overnight because I said around 218, and I was like, all right, perfect. I was like, we should wake up right around 215 or so, and then we can just coast on in. It's gonna be easy. And then he wakes up, and that was again. We did a burger and fry the night before because I also was like, if he spills, I have 10 hours to fix it.
Yep.
A couple rounds of posing, some push-ups, and maybe even a quick little pump workout. And, in the hotel gym before he gets sprayed would be good. That's easy to fix. And it was the opposite. He woke up a little under and a little flat. And I was like, And then that was when we figured out, he was like, dude, I was up all night going to the bathroom, and I was like peeing, and he was like, no. And I was like, all right, these burgers and fries just are not sitting in your stomach well, so we just nixed it.
Yep.
So for the next 2 days, it was chicken, rice, olive oil, and bacon.
Bacon.
Yeah, you said that. That's a wild concoction.
Yeah. Well, the bacon works, and the bacon is the same thing if you're doing a lot. Like Tonio, I've just gotten to start eating red meat now. Now we're going to really start growing. So like red meat is, is a little bit higher in fat, right? Yep. And it's, it's got some saturated fats, but like bacon is very high in saturated fat.
Yes.
And then things like butter. So like I use grass-fed butter with a lot of guys. So that's another thing that we'll, deploy with Tonio next is grass-fed butter for more saturated fats. That makes the physique at the end just get hard as nails. So I like loading definitely with plenty of carbohydrates to make sure that we have the fullness that we need. But intramuscular triglycerides is also a very legitimate thing. Saturated fats just makes the physique just look hard as nails. Once the fat's gone, like you got to be shredded for it, obviously, but it just works. I wish I could explain it a little bit better, but
yeah, I haven't heard that before, so I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, it works. That's the same reason for why guys do the burgers and fries the night before, or Jose Raymond used to do a steak. He'd go get a steak and a potato at the restaurant. It's like, well, what do you think they're cooking the steak in?
Yeah,
half a pound of butter.
Right.
So it's like, well, yeah, no shit. So yeah, it's the fats. It works extremely well, and usually people digest them well, and the fats can also help keep you going. Number 2, because constipation and lack of motility is very common in the last couple of days leading up to a show, especially when you start rationing water. So you get dehydrated, your body isn't able to move and mobilize stool as easily.
Yep.
And then this can also be beneficial. I'm giving away all my secrets, so I got.
Yeah, I'm like, what is he doing?
It's all right. This is all common knowledge now at this point. I can tell somebody exactly what I do. I could give them all of Tonio's plans, and they'd say, "Okay, do this with your athlete." It won't work.
Yep, they'd still mess it up.
It's individual. You gotta know when to deploy. So, but this Olympia is going to be awesome. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Because so you got Bonac. He's back.
Yep.
I'm hoping Behrooz gets in. Hunter just qualified. Hunter's been perennially like right there.
Right.
Yep. I don't think he's been outside top 7 in.
He was 6th. Yes, I don't know if he's been outside the top 7.
No.
Yeah.
In any of his Olympias, I think he's always been inside either 7th or higher.
Yeah, all the
6th last year. I think his highest is 5th. Or no, is his?
Was it 5th?
I thought it was
5th. I think he got 4th one year, and I think Nick got 5th.
Yeah, I think he got 4th, and like everyone was mad.
Yeah.
I know I was. I was like, okay, come on.
I remember that. I'm pretty sure that was Nick Walker's first Olympia.
Yeah, it's his first one, yep.
He got 5th. Yep. And then and Hunter got 4th.
Yep.
And then was that when I don't know who got 3rd, but I think that was when Hottie was that Hottie's win?
It was probably Curry 3rd.
No, that was Ramy.
I don't know where Ramy would. Oh, Ramy is.
I think, yeah.
Isn't Ramy doing the Olympia this year? I'm pretty.
See, that's why I heard that he was
He's
doing
on
it.
the list. You don't think so?
Let me pull up the last time I posted
about he never
posted. So hold on. So I became pretty close with Behrooz, and that's his brother.
Yeah.
And Behrooz is Mohammed and Bobby's trainer, so we communicated a lot.
This is the last time I saw him, August 27th. I posted this 7 weeks out.
And that's confirmed that picture was taken at.
Yeah,
I was like, he's good for.
It was from the guy on his right posted it that day.
Yeah, I was about to, because Ramy is really good for that. He's good for always throwing those teasers out there.
No, this wasn't from Ramy. This was from the other guy.
Oh, okay.
Oh, got you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if that's true, then I don't foresee it. But
I don't think
that's because Behrooz told me that he was going to work with him, and which hopefully I didn't just put my foot in my mouth there, but. Because they're like I said, they're brothers, and I mean like brothers, like blood, and I'm pretty sure they were going to work together. I just want to see Ramy back on stage, man. I just want to see him back on stage, ripped, shredded, and just doing the way things that he could. You know what I mean? Like it was 2022. So he won the 2021 Olympia, and I think he won the 2020 Olympia, right? It was 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he won 2020, 2021, and then 2022 he falls out of the top. He was fifth.
Immediately into fifth. Yep.
Yeah, immediately. They put him in the first call out, slid him to the side, and that was it.
Yep. And then he goes into the Arnold Classic, and you can't look on the internet and try to find footage of the 4K of Big Ramy from that Arnold Classic. It doesn't exist. It's been wiped.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Our group, we just scour because we try to do comparisons, and it's just not there. Whoever was the photographers there, all of them had it deleted. It's gone. Like, it
wow.
I was there at that Arnold.
I was there too. I was in the press pit. Yeah, like I was right there. I could see everything.
Yeah, I was there for Ariel because she won 2022, 2023, and this year 2024.
Oh, you know what? I was probably standing right next to you when she did her victory speech. I had it on my channel. Danielle. What was her name? Danielle Willis. She's a women's bodybuilder. We did an interview with her when she had her trophy and she was all painted up.
Yeah, probably.
You might have been standing right next to me.
Yeah. Did you do that interview backstage?
No, it was right outside the venue where they had the where like
I would have been in the vicinity. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it was right next to Dennis James and. Who else was doing it? There's a couple other media people.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah,
That's funny.
I was there. Yep.
If I would have known you, yeah.
But yeah, so I remember because that was Sean did that Arnold as well.
Oh yeah, he did in the Open. Yeah,
yeah,
that was a good one.
And they put him next to Ramy. They had a call out where they were comparing them to.
Yeah, it was a good.
That was awesome. The crowd went crazy. When they moved them next to each other, the crowd went crazy of like laughter and cheers. And dude, Sean was reveling and he had the biggest smile and he was like,
he was owning that moment.
Because he was like, that's what I want, man. He was like, I want the 300-pounder right next to me. Because Sean's not even on stage at like 190.
Right.
Not then yet, at least. I think this past Olympia, he was close there.
Like 187 or something like that.
Yeah. So like, dude, but that's the biggest 187-pound bodybuilder in the world.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
he is so. It just like
the density. Yeah, it's crazy.
Just jumps off him.
Yeah, I did an interview with him at the Mutant booth, and I'm such a dick. I didn't think about like how it would look like optics, but he was standing behind the table at the Mutant booth, and then I did like the splits so that I could get closer, like my head to him. So I could just think everyone watching me do the interview. Like, luckily the camera cut off at the table, but my legs must have been like this, so that I could be like.
Oh my god!
And after I did it, I thought about it. I'm like, oh my god, he probably thinks I'm a dick. I didn't even think of it like that.
I bet you didn't even think anything of it.
I hope not.
No, it sounds cool.
But people definitely
one of the nicest
took pictures, and I was like, oh my god.
he is one of the. I'm very lucky that I know him and can consider him a friend. He's actually, I mean, he has sent me several athletes.
Okay.
People he's friends with, and he's like, hey, this girl needs help, and I know you're the guy. So, because I coached several of his friends from New Jersey.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm glad that I can consider him a friend. Super, super nice guy. Extremely nice guy. Very hard worker. I mean, just embodies bodybuilding, extremely well.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of 212, Keon looks ridiculous.
He looks insane.
I mean,
he wins again.
Yeah, we can't wait to have him on the show after the Olympia. He's gonna.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, yeah, it's a good one to have. But honestly, I mean, he's already under 212.
Really?
And I don't know. Yeah, he posted his weight not long ago. He was like 211 and change. Right. I think it was 6 weeks out he did that. Way ahead of schedule as far as conditioning for his standards, for what he's achieved conditioning wise. Because that's always been kind of his knock. But he was conditioned enough last year.
Yep.
This year, I mean, I can tell you this. Sean is bringing something way different this year. He's going to be significantly better than last year. I can say that with certainty. Taking biasm out, obviously, because Matt Jansen is his coach, and Matt is my boy. He's my brother. And Sean is my good friend. Taking biasm out of that. they are going to be absolutely battling again up there this year. I think Sean has improved from last year, believe it or not. It's like you kind of keep wondering how this guy keeps on improving, but he is improved. He's going to have that trademark conditioning that he's going to have again, which is awesome. Love to see it because he usually looks like a piece of stone. Yeah. But like, I don't understand what blows my mind though is like when I look at this physique here with Keon, what I don't get is how this weighs 212 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I interviewed him after the Superstars seminar at last year's Olympia, and what a treat it was to actually go to that event. Like, I never thought I wanted to go to something like that, but it turned out to be amazing because I got to interview almost all the winners except Chris and Derek. So it was like phenomenal. But he's huge. Like, I think the most impressive person I've ever interviewed was my first Olympia. I went there as just a fan. It was before I started really covering bodybuilding as a journalist. And I interviewed Ian Valliere, and I put my hand on his shoulder. And I could feel like the bumps in the delt. He was so shredded. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
That was like the craziest. I don't know. It's stuck in my mind forever since then.
When I first moved here to Florida, we had the Revive gym was loaded with talent. So we had Nick Walker, we had Ian, we had Melissa Bumstead, we had Chris Bumstead, we had those are your marquee names, but then we had other people we had like high level national people, we had some other pros in the gym, like people that nobody would really know, but like we all trained right around, and like Brett was coming into town a good bit still at that time. He wasn't here full time yet, but he was coming down. Ian's training partner from Canada came down, Julian Geoffrin, which he's a big dude, national level competitor in the Canadian ranks. There were so many big dudes there, but like seeing Nick and him in the gym when I first moved here, that was crazy. I mean, Ian is crazy impressive in the gym. His arms are just absolutely massive. Just hanging to his side, he's just got like the thickest arm ever. And then obviously, Nick is even more freaky now than he ever has been. So,
right,
crazy. We have him at the Raw Gym now. Honestly, the Raw Gym's starting to kind of get back to what Revive was a handful of years ago. With Brett, Martin, Blessing, Nick, and I'm technically there and I'm a pro too, I guess, but I'm not putting my name on that list. Like my training partner, Justin O'Donnell, he's a 290 pounder. He'll be probably 240 on stage this year in the Nationals as super. Just a lot of big fucking dudes, and it's awesome. It's awesome to see. But yeah, to your point, Ian, when he was banging it, he was crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy impressive. I got to watch from the front row. Again, front row VIP in Toronto Pro 2023, which was his last show. He retired after that. I got to see him win that show. That was awesome. He looked so good.
Yeah,
such a polished look. He was super hard. It was crazy. And that dude, that also too, that was, just to give Ian his flowers, but like he walked out on that stage and did this. And again, because he's an Ontario guy, so that crowd went absolutely. It's like it was crazy. I mean, it wasn't quite like Brazil for Rafael Bandao, but it was.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was crazy. That's the craziest I've ever seen. But it was. Every seat was packed, and obviously it's a bunch of room of Canadians and their hometown guys on stage. It was crazy. So that was not only with the atmosphere, but how he looked. So kudos to Ian Valliere, great guy, another good friend of mine.
Yeah, he's been killing it on Bro Chat. Whenever he's on there, I can always expect to get a lot of variety in the opinions.
He is very unbiased, and that's what I respect about him. He keeps it real. He calls a spade a spade. He's never been afraid to put things out there that might ruffle some feathers. But honestly, if you're, a mature and rational adult, then you would like that. And he has said he did the same thing for us going into the Olympia last year. He had some extremely nice things to say about myself. He had a lot of nice things to say about Tonio. He also gave us he gave us our flowers, but he also had some things to say of like why he's like, I have them as high as this, but here's why I don't have them going any higher. So, there were like pros and cons to, and it was like, okay, totally appreciate that. Thank you. That's legitimate critique.
All right.
And he does a great job when he's commentating shows too. Because he did the live stream with Fuad for the Detroit Pro.
Oh, okay.
I
took a social media break for like 4 months, so I was gone.
Yeah,
I was gone.
I could go without Fuad doing it, but he does a good job.
I appreciate what Fuad does for our community.
I'll
leave it there.
But Ian is, I think, a tremendous commentator.
Yes.
I will say Fuad did a damn good job commentating the Arnold when he got the opportunity to do that. I think he did really, really well.
He kept that commentary grounded in reality.
Which is how it should be.
How it should be, yep.
So, but again, I'll give him his flowers. No disrespect. Guy has done a lot for the industry, and has given a lot of opportunities to people.
Mm-hmm. In a short time too, since he stopped competing and started with Luke Sandow doing that talk show, and then it just kind of evolved into what it is now. It's
Bodybuilding and Bollocks was what it was. It was him and Luke Sandow and James Hollinchet.
Yeah,
so,
it's that's my I don't know if it's like where I want my career to end as being a commentator, but that's where I'd like this to go eventually. We've been working on it for 5 years now. So
I think a lot of guys would like to do that. I think I would love to be able to do that too, but like obviously with how deep I am in the coaching world, I pretty much have to stop coaching to get into that. Yeah. And I don't think that I could ever fully do that.
Yeah, that's why I gave up even the idea of if I could just get nationally qualified, then that'd be fun. And then I could start looking at PEDs and who knows how far I could go. And I was just like, that's not why I like bodybuilding. I like bodybuilding because I get to talk with people that I'm fans of, and then I get to help promote people and let people know, hey, there's going to be a show this weekend, and the men's open get on at 7, not at 5, so you don't have to sit around for 2 hours. That's what I enjoy doing. Getting on stage was fun the couple times I did it, but I'm good. I just want to be behind the mic and just help tell other people's stories. And that's what kind of got me into journalism within the military, because I did IT for 12 years. And then now I'm doing, public affairs and photo, video interviews now. So I know where I am and I know where I want to be.
Exactly.
Right.
Where your strengths are.
Yep. I got Tonio, the good-looking guy here, being the face of Monday Morning Muscle, and
and his producer. Is competing. You know what I mean? So it's he knows where his strength is, which is he's doing it. He's the athlete.
Yes.
And that's exactly that. But also too, people like to listen to him talk because he's a really nice guy.
If you can get him to talk,
I'm a good guy.
He 9 times out of 10, if he can find someone else to talk, he'll just sit here and be like, yeah, and tell another story about blah blah blah.
I like listening.
Hold on.
When I had you and Phil Clayhar on, that's the first thing you said was I just like to listen. I'm like, and Derek Oslin too. You would just let those guys just go and go and go.
Yeah. I'm new to it. You know what I mean? So when I can hear stories about bodybuilding, about the way they did it, or older bodybuilders, I like to listen to it.
Yeah, you guys got to remember. Tonio honestly hasn't been doing this all that long.
Yeah. He's been being a professional bodybuilder as long as I've been a journalist.
Yes, 2019.
That's only since 2019.
I know.
Right.
I started a month before he turned pro. Yeah.
It's not like this super long time. Your first show was in
2018.
Yeah, so and I remember, so I did that show that Tonio went pro at. I did USA's in 2019. I was middleweight. That was I had done one national show. I did the North Americans as a lightweight. But again, they only give out pro cards to the top 3. At that time, it was top 3. Now it's top 4. So I didn't do that for the pro card. I was I just want to compete against competitive people, because up to that point, I had won all the shows that I've done. And so, but the USA's, I see him backstage in a red tracksuit zipped up to his neck, and I'm just like,
that Kai Green energy.
I really hope this guy's not a middleweight. Because I was pretty raw. I didn't really know. I wasn't able to size people up and tell just yet. But like, because I could see through his tracksuit, I'm just like, this guy's jacked, and I was like, I'm in trouble. And so, anyway, luckily he wasn't. He was light heavyweight, and he won the light heavies, and I was middleweight. I got third, and that was history. But yeah, that was again, that's what people need to remember, and that's just when you have all of the information about who Tonio is as a bodybuilder. And his track history, his track record of competitions, it's like, well, dang, he's only been a pro since 2019. Yeah, but I bet he's competed more times than most of the other people.
Yeah.
A lot of pro shows, more than usually averaging 3 a year.
Mm-hmm.
With
the amount of Olympia
sometimes being the third show, and it's like, okay, like, so that when you put it all together, again, we're going back to the our big announcement, like. It makes a lot of sense, like what we're trying to do here. Again, still a young guy in his early 30s. It's like, and people like to forget that again. He's got 2 kids that he obviously to stick around for, and be able to, still be a father as well. It's just there were enough things and enough reasons for us to make that call, so that way, come January 1st. At the beginning of the year, when he's in the mid 260s, and we're creeping up on some of our goals of like where we want to be and where we want to get to, and then let it marinate, so that way it sticks. It'll all make sense. When we get back on stage, everyone's going to say, "Oh, it sounds dumb when you're doing it until it pays off, right?"
Right.
When it pays off in the long run, and we're 10 plus pounds heavier. He looks like a completely new bodybuilder, and nobody even recognizes him because he's got no weaknesses. He's, bringing the size and fullness to the stage like he had at New York, plus the extra muscle, but with the Olympia and Brazil level conditioning. It's like, okay, this is why we did this, guys.
Yep.
So,
right.
Martin took the year off, and now Tonio's going to do the same thing.
Yeah, it's it just makes sense. There's no, you don't have to just keep competing. And that's the thing about getting to the Olympia, because I've spoken to a lot of Olympians, and it's like once they get there once, it's just like, I got to get back there. It's like they'll get back there by any means necessary, even if that means competing 5-6 times. But then it's like, then you're going to get on the Olympia stage and you make no improvements. So you're not moving up.
Yep.
Or maybe you've regressed because you competed so many times just to get the qual, and now your body's tired, and now like you've competed 5 times, and now you're 8 weeks out from the Olympia.
Yep.
Well, what do you do?
That's
right.
The Justin Rodriguez story.
Give your body any rest and pull back at all. So it's, but that's how the pro leagues kind of is. It's difficult to do it, to plan.
Yep.
To be able to have rest in between the shows. It's not like the national shows in the amateur ranks. You plan for that show, like that's the show I'm doing, and I do my qualifier, and then I do that, and they're all spaced out relatively well. It's a challenge. So
too much thinking for me.
yeah, that's okay, but that's why me and Joey are here to help you. Like I said, we're not your handlers because you had a very big voice in doing this, and I know you pushed back on it several times. But when we doubled down and explained it and made sure that we were all on the same page, eventually it took a couple nights of hard sleep. But then after sleeping on it for a little while, it was like, okay, yeah, I'm in it. This is exactly what I want to do. And I think also, when you got some of your personal affairs in order, it was easier for you to kind of come to grips with the fact that, hey, I guess I'm not doing the Olympia this year, but that's okay.
Right.
So hindsight's going to be 2020 about this. So, but I feel nobody can tell me any different. I feel very strongly about that. This is ultimately the right move for him, because what do I have to benefit from this?
True.
Nothing. I'm taking my top guy out of the Olympia because I want him to be able to reach his potential, which is a top 5. Like, we can get in that top 5 and shake it up, eventually. when he's got the tissue, because I can get him in the shape that he needs to be in conditioning wise to be at that level. And I know that he's got the shape, physically the shape to be able to be at that level. And now it's just a matter of time of putting muscle on. And so, you know, I could selfishly as his coach just be like, well, I got to put you on the, you know what I mean? And just market that and like use that for my personal gain and benefit. But that's not why I'm here. And that's not what I care about. You know what I mean? I want my athletes to do well. Mm-hmm. I'm not here for clout or anything like that. I'm not a huge, I don't have a huge following on Instagram or anything like that. Like I have his trust. He trusts me to do the right thing for him. I have all of my athletes trust to do the right thing for them. I lead them to the best of my ability, and I want them to ultimately be the best that they can possibly be on show day. And this isn't the first time that I've had a hard conversation with an athlete and said, hey, I think it's best for us to sit out, take some time off, and get some of these things that are going on with your body right, make sure you're healthy and improve and grow before we try and get back on stage. And like, that is something that I will, you know, pride myself on, is that I'm, you know, being able to have those conversations with the athletes and make sure that I can, you know, put short-term wants, not putting those before long-term needs.
Yes.
So,
yeah, you know, very well said.
The moral of the story, that really sums it up right there. Putting short-term wants ahead of long-term needs.
Yeah, I agree. So, if you're not competing at the Olympia, what's the plan around the Olympia?
We're growing.
Okay.
You know, I told him I don't want to think about a show until we hit 270, and not to chase weight so much, but you know, just to make sure we're putting on the proper size we need. Because I mean, I think we did Cal, and Amir outweighed me by 50 pounds. Damn near, you know. Same thing with New York. Well, Martin was second, and I think he said he was around 240 on stage.
Wow.
So he outweighed me by 30. You know what I mean? So I feel like if we can put on the 10, like he said, 10, 15 pounds of tissue, me being 212, I look 240, 230. So imagine being that on stage, what we would look like. So that's why he said we don't need to be 250.
Right, yeah. And it's never been about like Tonio looking small next to these guys, because he doesn't. He's never looked small next to him. I mean, Rafael Bandau was tall too, so he had to be 260.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's a big human being, big guy, and he's put on a ton of muscle. He was massive in Brazil,
right?
You know, again, like we've always given up scale weight, you know, which might give up a little bit of size, but I don't think it honestly. Again, it doesn't. It's not about like what Tonio said. It's not about us chasing a weight, just trying to hit like 270 for the sake of hitting 270. But the thing is like I've never seen Tonio fat.
No,
so like
no one has.
Nobody has really. So if we can just continue to let his body gain the weight and grow, and we organically through our off-season protocols and what we're doing, push up to that 270, 275 range, and we hold it there for maybe a month or two. So that way, we didn't just touch it and then immediately start dieting. It's like, no, let's let it solidify. Well, then Tonio usually loses 30 to 35 pounds when we prep.
Okay.
So that's typically what we've been dropping. So 30. Let's go on the high side. Let's say it's close. Let's say it's 40. Okay, so if he's 272, 273, drops 40 pounds. That puts him, and again, like 40 pounds would be absolutely like skinless peel for a guy like this. He'd be in the he'd be in the low to mid 230s after being on stage at 220. Mm-hmm. And I'm not rounding down, like 220 on the dot.
Right.
I could predict his weight like almost daily, and there were several times I did, and like that's exactly where we were. Again, so it's just like that's 13 pounds of muscle for any athlete is a completely different bodybuilder.
In a year is insane.
Yeah, in a year or in any amount of time. Like it just, you know what I mean? It's like just comparing you from here's when I weighed this and here's me 13 pounds of muscle heavier, you know, both stage condition. Yep. It's a completely different look.
Right.
Add somebody like him who is extremely bubbly where his muscle looks bigger than what he weighs.
Yep.
So you add all that size, all that muscle that now has led to that, increase in the body weight on the scale. It's like, well, that's a tremendous amount of tissue. But the thing is like he's grown to be, with not a whole lot of off seasons in his, repertoire and under his belt as a bodybuilder. He's grown to be
really done
where he is as is. So it's like, well, now we're kind of treating an off season kind of like a prep. We are doing a legit off season where the food's coming up. I finally got him to start eating red meat again, which that makes a difference for me. I think it's the best protein source you can have to put on muscle.
Yeah, I prefer it.
And so do I. And, but yeah, just like all of these things where, again, time was the thing that we needed. Size and just eating like a horse was what we needed. Not only for metabolic function and making sure that stays high, so that way we do have continuously successful prep after successful prep, but being able to walk into any show. It's like, well, we can do whatever show you want, man. Like it's going to be you and whoever else is doing the show that is like the next top guy, and that's going to be who they're predicting as going to be like front runners for that show. So I just think it makes a lot of sense. Traditionally, the open guys continue to get better well into their 40s. Phil was in his 40s. Kai was in his 40s. Jay was in his 40s. Ronnie was in his 40s.
Yeah, Roden. Yeah.
Sean Roden was he was really old.
Yeah.
With Olympia. Samson, I think, is getting up there.
Yeah, he's creeping up.
Yeah, his records are kind of confusing. Some say he's much younger than he is.
He's got him.
I've seen one that said he was like 34. I'm like, I thought he was like closer to 40.
I'm pretty sure he's late 30s, early 40s. If I
remember
how old his wife is.
It was like his IMDb or something. Somebody just decided to put him as like low 30s.
Yeah.
Oh, that shit is so
It's
false.
like, no, I've seen him compete all the way back in like 2016. So I know he's been around the block.
Yeah, like I don't know how old Hottie is.
No idea.
But I mean, like William Bonac is still like, he's got a little bit of a resurgence in his career, and he's definitely in his late 30s, early 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Again, there's just been there's Dexter Jackson, obviously a great example. I mean, there's just plenty of examples of these guys that as they get older, they still can, if they did it the right way, like Tonio was talking about at the beginning of the podcast. Like, yeah, like we could do some risky business and like try and put on as much muscle as literally as fast as possible, but like it looks different. Like you said, it doesn't look the same. The muscle maturity takes time, and I want to put on quality tissue.
Right.
That's the most important thing. But again, if you do stuff the right way, then yes, you can be a damn good bodybuilder. Like, well into your late 30s, early 40s. So we've got time. And sometimes for elite athletes like him, it just takes that one off season.
Mm-hmm.
It takes that one off season to make that big jump, and then we can do the smaller off seasons where we're gaining 2-3 pounds of muscle each season, because that still adds up.
Yep.
Right.
And I know he likes to compete often, so it's like, well, then yeah, like we can do stuff like that. We can pick our shows, maybe stack them up a little bit more, but there still needs to be that time period where it's like, okay, well, we're going to take a decent sized chunk and we're not going to compete. We're just going to let your body grow. And hopefully, if we do this right, we only really have to do this once. Worst case scenario, we have to do this twice. Not necessarily sitting out of an Olympia, but taking an extended period of time off to grow. And if so, then so be it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's about doing whatever it takes to be the most competitive for the big show.
Right.
Which we're looking at future options for that, because it's not a matter of if we're going to get back to the Olympia. It's just a matter of when. So, yeah.
All right. Closing remarks? Also, Tony, you have to talk a little bit.
I really enjoyed this. Like we had, we talked about a lot of different stuff. I love being able to look at stuff on the chat too. Like when you're able to pull stuff up on your computer and show it and screen share. I love that stuff. I love talking bodybuilding. I like talking about bodybuilding that aren't necessarily always my athletes. Just the sport in general, like being able to talk about the Italy Pro and the other guys, like briefly talking about the 212, as well as talking about the Olympia coming up and who's doing it and what to expect. I'll be watching it from the comfort of my couch.
Same.
Which will be nice. And Tonio, I don't know if you're not planning on going out there, are you?
Nah.
Yeah. So, that was my original question earlier, and then Tonio just went on a tangent. I was like,
oh, you meant what are we going to do?
Yeah,
like planning for Olympia?
Yeah.
Oh, watch it from home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No point in going down.
Okay.
No,
make sure I get
honestly,
you on the stream.
Vegas. I want them to move it so badly. That's a big reason why I'm not going is because it's in Vegas.
The traffic is always bad.
Horrible
construction.
Horrible traffic.
Then you have the homeless taking showers in the waterfalls and ponds that they have on the strip.
Yeah, and some of the hotels don't fill their fountains up with water anymore because of that. There's some hotels that don't do that now. I'm just like, wow, they're going to ruin a good thing.
Then the last time we were in Vegas, everyone got sick.
Yep.
Everyone got sick.
The last time it was in Vegas, I got COVID from that.
Yep.
I guess the hotel sewage had flooded inside. That's why they had that funky smell.
Oh God.
Yeah. So that's what that came from. So if you got sick, that's why.
Okay. Well, I just assumed it was from the crowd of people. Because like even the Arnold, I typically, when I've gone, just being around that many people, I get a bug.
Yeah, I always get sick every time I go to the Arnold or the Olympia.
Yeah. And like,
shaking too many hands.
Oh yeah, hey, you know me. I mean, everyone knows me. They see me and they're like, "Oh my God, wow, sign my baby."
It's ironic. It's ironic having him say that because I literally am dragging him out of the show after prejudging. It's like Brazil was bad, and New York was really bad. Like because like there's only this like tiny little tunnel that gets you into this into backstage at the New York Pro.
Mm-hmm.
And like everyone knows where it is, and they just line up right there. Massive people, and then we're just standing, and there's like 1,000,001 people. Can I get a picture? Can I get a picture? Can I get a picture? It's just like, guys, they literally just got off stage. Like, can we like let them like have a minute? And so anyway, yeah, like that's ironic. Say that.
Yeah, I think, but Brazil, we probably after the show, we probably stayed for probably 2 hours.
Yeah, well, I don't know how long it was until we eventually got our cab to take us to the pizza place, but just to get outside took a while, and I was fucking red hot. I was so angry. I didn't want to talk to anybody, and like not bringing this back up, but like some of Bandau's like fanboys that were like backstage, like helping him do whatever, like tried to come up to me and him and like say congrats and all this stuff backstage. And I just waved him off. I was just like, no, man, it's good. Like, I don't really want to shake your hand. And then I kept at it where it's like, oh my God. Like, and they were like trying to like soften the blow, I think, like maybe being like good sports. But I'm just like, yeah, it's easy to be a good sport when you won. I'm just like, I even said that to one guy that actually spoke English. I was like, you realize you wouldn't be doing this if we won, right? Like everyone, like we would be like fighting you guys off with machetes to get be trying to fucking kill us.
Yep.
So dude, we had I won't say name and I won't give too much, but we had an official even say that to us at registration.
See, people thought I was making that up.
Don't say any more than don't give out too much. But we had somebody who said, I hope you've got an armed escort to get out of here on Saturday. He's like, if you guys pull this off, it's going to be mayhem.
Yeah.
And we knew it. Like, that was, I mean, again, we were in a hostile crowd, so it was like, whatever. Granted, it was awesome. Like, that atmosphere was electric, and, like, it truly is unmatched. And I genuinely wish that we had that type of atmosphere at the shows here in the States.
Right.
No disrespect. Honestly, everyone treated us super nicely backstage. It was, again, we were pretty well taken care of there for sure. It was the aftermath of it all that kind of like got out of control, which wasn't necessary. But
that's what I've heard about Brazilian fans and some of the Middle Eastern country fans.
Extremely
they get
passionate.
Their passion is different.
Yep.
Yes, the Iranians, because of Hadi and Behrooz, and then obviously the Brazilians.
Yeah, the Ramon fans are
wild fans.
They're really wild.
But I commend them for their passion and the fact that because people talk about me like that. I'm at the show and I'm going crazy, and like Tonio and I have like almost like telepathy now at this point, because he hears me, and I can just like make eye contact with him and just like I mouth some words and he knows what I'm saying, and like it's just again, but like I'm not worried about upsetting anybody if I'm being loud. Like if me being loud and cueing an athlete to do something slightly different or tweak something while they're on the stage in front of the judges is the difference between them winning or losing, you're goddamn right. I'm going to be loud. And so, I do that at all different levels. You know what I mean? Like even a regional show, if it's close and I want my guy to win, like I'm getting after it.
Yeah.
And so, but so I understand the passion because I am a passionate guy, and I respect it. I respect it a lot. So yes, absolutely. All nothing but love for the fans like that are passionate and everything. It's truly remarkable. But yeah, I can't wait for the Olympia to come to watch as a fan. I'm still a big fan of bodybuilding. That's one of the things about coaching. Those are a couple of final remarks here, but those are one of the things about coaching that I love because I get to coach guys that I grew up that I was a fan of. When I first started coaching, I didn't think that I'd be working with guys like Tonio. Not that I didn't think I had the ability to. It's hard to get these guys. You got to build up some notoriety, and I'm grateful that Ariel put us in touch with each other, and we really hit it off. Tony and I became great friends, and then that friendship led to a brotherhood that now has us here, and it's amazing. Like him, and Quinn are extremely close, and that's friends that I wouldn't have had if it wasn't for coaching.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful for it. There's others too that I could say that about that I'm lucky to coach them as I'm a fan of them at one point. And it'll happen more. It'll continue to happen. Open pros, classic pros, like getting more of those guys will be a blessing, and it'll be cool because it's like, well, man, I'm a big fan of yours, dude. Like, I'm a big fan of your physique, and I'd be more than happy to assist you guys. And like that's the thing that for me is like it's really fun. I never fanboy. I don't really get that way, but I'm still a fan of bodybuilding, and I'm still a fan of several different athletes because of their physique. Like I'm just like, you just have a world-class physique, man. I just like looking at you.
Yep.
Not in the most like traditional coaching type of way. I just it's just a beautifully aesthetically looking physique that's bodybuilding, and this is what I love to do, and it's art and everything like that. Like I truly believe that. So that's the fun of it for me. I get to wake up and have my dream career every day. Make a nice living and be able to do things for my family and for myself, and for the athletes. I try and do a lot of different things for them, giving back. Whatever connections that I have that I can put them in touch with to help with them, and anything that I can to assist my people. I'll put it this way: I've spent a lot of money to just aid my team in a multitude of different ways, and I'll never stop doing that because it's my way of giving back to them. Yes, they pay me to do my job, but it's my way of also reinvesting that right back into them and doing things that I can to support them and also let them know that I care. And that's truthfully like what I care about. I just want to make a positive impact on as many people as I can. I've never really worried about my career being about as many Olympia titles as I can get. If I get one, I would be very grateful. You know what I mean? That's like winning the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, not that many can, knock on wood, but not that many coaches can ever say that they even, won a Super Bowl. So, I'm there, and, I'm like, my guy that's got the opportunity to do that, in the future is this guy right here. So, so I'm ride or die, but beyond what Tonio can do on stage, I want to, he's an example, just like the rest of my team, people that I want to help because they're good people.
Mm.
You don't have to be an Olympian for me to care about you. That's the furthest thing from it. Clout has never really impressed me. I've turned a lot of opportunities down that would maybe have given me notoriety or clout or whatnot because of a big name athlete or whatnot or anything like that. But again, like, this is what I do for a living, so I respect myself to the point where, like, okay, I'm happy to help you, but, like, you have to pay. And it's like I'm not coaching people just because they can give me notoriety.
Right.
I love
exposure.
I love coaching amateurs. I love turning people pro. It's an extremely rewarding feeling. I also love coaching, pros that are, and winning a pro show with an athlete and getting it back to the Olympia. It's an amazing feeling. But truthfully, like, what it boils down to, because both of those scenarios are both amazing feelings, it boils down to the fact that I'm helping them accomplish something that is truly remarkable, and they are very appreciative of what I've done for them. Mm. When there's a mutual respect and appreciation for one another is when things can really flourish and really do well. So that's what it's all about for me personally.
I was like, yeah, it's never been all just coaching with us. Definitely a friendship, brotherhood back there too. So we bullshit a lot.
Yeah, we do. And I mean, even like, one of the biggest turning points for him and Tonio and my relationship was 8 weeks out from the Olympia last year. Because we almost didn't do the Olympia last year.
Oh yeah.
Just just some darker mental things that were going on in his life, and again, Joey was very involved in that too. Again, it's always been a team thing with the three of us, and it was a you don't have to do this if you are going to lose your sense of self. Mm. Because that's too important. I don't want you to lose who you are as a person because you're chasing down this show. And of course, yeah, towards the end of a prep, yeah, like, we kind of are a shell of ourselves. That's a little bit different than where we were at that time. Yeah. And, and I said that I'll give you two options. And I said, I will support you whichever way you go. And I'm still your coach no matter what. I'm still your brother no matter what. I said, you can sit out and we can get our personal affairs in order. We can, get your mental health in a better place and just focus on that. I said, or we can keep going. But if we keep going, we're doing it all the way. And I was like, and there's no stone going to be left unturned. And part of me thinks that that's also why we achieved such a great level that last year. Because that up to that point, that was the most conditioned that Tonio had ever been on stage. And in my opinion, I think a lot of that was because at that moment, when we got off the phone, I think it was a turning my brain off, putting my head down, and I'm just going to, like, take out these frustrations and this anger and stuff like that on the weights, and just, like, went all in on that prep, even more so than we have in other preps. And I just think that came all to fruition once we were able to kind of get to that point. So that was a very special moment, and to be able to get through that, because it was definitely a challenge, but
yeah.
But that was definitely, like, the turning point for us too. It was to get through that.
Tough time.
Sorry.
Damn, Justin.
Sorry, dude. I knew I could sense it when you started moving around. Sorry, brother. He and I had a lot of heart-to-heart conversations, and we even did in the hotel room at the Olympia. And even in between prejudging and finals, like it's just, I had to basically pick him up and take him places to go do stuff because it was just, this a lot was on his mind. And, and that's hard. People don't realize that, you know what I mean? We treat these athletes like they're thoroughbred horses and that they don't have feelings. But they do, and, some people might say like, oh, it's the Olympia, like suck it up. It's like, okay, man, like, when you're in that position, then you can say that.
Yeah, things I'm talking.
So few of us will ever be in that position that it's like, I'm not going to listen to anybody like that says that. It's like I'm going to let my athlete decide what he needs to do, and because I also know this: when you push people and force people to do things, especially if they aren't ready, they're going to resent you for it. You know what I mean? Instead of like, hey, I like really needed you to like have my back during this, and like you kind of pushed me. And don't get me wrong, like there are going to be times and there are times when I've pushed him really hard, but that's because I knew that was what he needed, but then there's also been times when I pulled back on the reins and I was like, hey man, like if you need a break and like this and we need to stop for a bit, then like we can stop. It's just it's just always been that way, you know what I mean? And not everybody gets that treatment. You know what I mean? Some people hire me for a show, and I'm like, hey, I'm all right. We're doing this. Like that's all there is to it. But there are unique circumstances, and this was one of them because of the fact that it wasn't a matter of like if I think we can get back to this point. Because some people get to the Olympia once. Like I'll use lucky. Like my goal as a 212 pro is to someday be able to be on that stage just once. I just want to get there one time to be able to be with my guys, be able to say I was backstage with them and we were pumping up and we went on stage together and it was, we just had fun, got to take a picture backstage all oiled up and, those nostalgic pictures that you will never get to recreate no matter how hard you try, like those are some special things because you got to earn it, right? It's invite only. You got to earn it. You got to qualify for it. So, like I'm an example of that, and, that's fine. Like I said, my ceiling as a coach is much higher than mine is as an athlete. And so, but my goal is to someday be able to do that, to be able to be on stage with a crew of Olympians that I've qualified for that year and just have a blast. Because you know what? I've done it. At my pro debut, I had 4 athletes compete in the same show. and we nailed it. And everybody crushed it. It was awesome. It was a great experience. I got to be backstage with them, and we had fun, and we all stayed in the same hotel. Like, like the easiest way to be able to check in with the athletes at the Olympia is to qualify for the Olympia. Yep. And we're in the same hotel together, and I got my room, you got your room. It's like, well, we're all in the same hotel. It's just an elevator ride up and down, so someday that is my end all goal. I'm only 30. Tonio's a few years older than me. I don't know when I'm going to be done competing. Honestly, if I can qualify for the Olympia one time, I'll probably be considering retirement right after that. Anyway, but that's, like I said, but like all of these decisions that we've made, people are going to think like, holy fuck, this is like the craziest way to coach like somebody at this level. And it's like, yeah, but like, you know what? Like I have figured out how to get the most out of Tonio. Like nobody's gotten more out of him as a coach than I have, and it's because of understanding the psyche of the athlete, because everyone is different. So some of my athletes are like, hey, I need you to be a drill sergeant. Just read me out, lay into me. That's what I respond to. And don't let me quit. No matter how much I say I want to be quit and how I want to be done, you do not let me quit. Okay, I finish what I start. Okay, no problem. Got it. If you're like me, and when I played football, if coach grabbed me by the face mask and barked at me in front of the team, that's not how I respond.
Yeah, I shut down from that.
I shut down. Now I don't want to play.
Yep.
Because I'm petty. And so I'm just like, you know what, fuck you. I'd take my helmet off and I would probably like leave practice. I was a head case. 100%. I was a head case. It probably hurt me. And I'm the same way in bodybuilding. Like, even Jansen just gave me a fucking stern talking to, honestly, not that long ago. And I didn't like it. And, most of what he said was right. It's what I needed to hear, but I sure shit didn't want to fucking hear it.
Yeah.
And there's a delivery mechanism that needs to also be in play there sometimes too. Not everything I tell Tonio is stuff he wants to hear. I'm not a yes man coach. I don't just like, well, whatever you want to do. It's not like that. I'm not coddling him. He's a fucking grown ass man. And so, and like, he's seen shit that I have never seen before and never will. And I don't want to, but then again, not everybody knows his story. Not everybody knows him as a person. I've spent a lot of time with him just as like my friend, not just as my athlete. And understanding the psyche of the athlete is how you can get the most out of them.
Yep.
And that's high level coaching, in my opinion. And you know who I think Hani Rambat has really mastered that. He has figured it out, how to tap in. He's very big on that stuff too. He's very big on psychology and all that stuff, and I respect him for that. It's extremely important. He did it with Jay Cutler. He did it with Jeremy Buendia. He did it with Phil Heath. He did it with Nicole Wilkins, OG original figure with Olympia back in the day. And then now doing it with Chris. I mean, that shit matters. So like, I think that stuff matters, and that's how I like to coach people. I try and understand. Can't do it with everybody, not to the same extent as I can with somebody who I'm really close with. As it's, I don't know all these people in person. A lot of my coaches, a lot of my athletes I've never met in person. I have a large team. I manage a good sized roster, and I do online coaching. I haven't met all of them in person, but the ones that I have and the ones that I've had for several years are the ones that truly get the most out of me and that I can get the most out of them, because I understand how their psyche works. You got to know the fine line between, hey, it's time for me to break you down to then build you back up, or there's times for me to be like, hey, it's okay, like everything's gonna be fine. Just relax. There's you just have to know when to make those calls, and that's something that we've really nailed, honestly. In the short time that we've been together, it's really only been a year, just a year and 3 months or so. So, that's the biggest thing that has separated, I think, our work together and the work that he's done with some of his other coaches. That might be viewed, Tonio, as a thoroughbred horse of just like, well, let's just keep going with him, just keep pushing him, just keep pushing him, just keep pushing him. And to an extent, I agree. Like Nick Saban is on record saying the best thing you can do for a 5-star athlete is coach them hard. They're going to be a 5-star recruit at no matter what school they go to. But the difference between being a first-round pick and not being drafted is being coached hard. There's lots of 5-star recruits that don't get drafted. Every year happens, tons of them, and that's because they didn't go to the right school, they didn't get linked up with the right coaching staff, and then they get pushed hard and they didn't max out the potential that they once had. That's not something I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help my athletes max out all their potential, but there's a way in doing this, and I have a process. And I tell him all the time, I'm like, hey man, just there's what's that saying? Not trust the process, but it's like there's methods behind the madness. So that's again, just, I know it might be weird right now, but trust me, like, it's gonna work in the long run. So that's been our relationship, truthfully, since the beginning. And a lot of people don't know that, you know what I mean? Like, I haven't shared that on podcasts, before, because it's too personal, and I don't want to share our personals out there. But since he's sitting right here,
very true.
We can talk about it a little bit. You can see, obviously, he got a little emotional, but that's because I have too. We've shed some tears together after some talks and whatnot. And it's not out of frustration or anything like that. It's just out of it's like tears of joy. You know what I mean? Because we've realized that what we have accomplished and what we've done has been truly remarkable.
Yep.
If you think about it, we have an 8th place finish at the Olympia. We have a 2nd place finish at the Arnold Brazil behind Rafael Bandau, an Olympian. We have a 3rd place finish at the New York Pro behind Martin Fitzwater and Nick Walker, who are Olympians. And we have a win at Cal Pro. I like our track records.
Yeah.
That's a really good record.
And one would think that with that track record, we would be full steam ahead into the Olympia. But again, like, I'm trying to plan for the future.
Yep.
And I want to, the next time that we compete, to have it be a absolute knockdown, drag out type of win, where we walked in, we hit our quarter turns, a front double and a back double, and it was like, okay, well, he won, so where is everybody else going to land? That's the goal.
Yep.
And it's very attainable.
Very
attainable with an athlete.
It's coming.
It's absolutely coming. So when it's coming, I don't know yet, but it's definitely coming. And at the pace that we're moving right now too, and the physique improvements that you guys have all seen on Instagram, none of that's doctored, none of that's, being released late or anything like that. Like, that's all in the moment. Muscles getting fuller. It's, we're starting to really tap into some good growth right now. Again, it'll take time, and we're not rushing it, because it's just a matter of, hey, like, once we get to these markers and we've let it settle, is then when, okay, now where are we at? What date is it? How far, how much time do we need to make sure we have a little bit of a cruise, a little bit of a health phase before we start, a prep? And then do we've got enough time to do a full prep? And then we just decide. And then we plan accordingly right there. And then that's it. So, beautiful thing with the Open is there's shows throughout the entirety of the year. Yeah. So we have a lot of options and a lot of opportunity, and that's something that is never really going to go away from us as being an open bodybuilder. So whenever the time is right is then when we'll make that call, and we'll be in the running.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That's the whole point.
Hell yeah!
That's the whole point of this time off. Yeah. Is to come back and just be, again, this is a Camp Jansen plug, but to be undeniable. So, those are my final remarks. That was like a 30-some minute ramble.
That's good. That's good. Tonio, any closing thoughts?
Oh man, Justin, stop making me get emotional.
Yeah, that was good. We're sniffling for different reasons. I have a cold, and you're getting in touch with your emotions.
Yeah, he's right when he says he's figured out how to tap in, mentally. So speaking back on Olympia, I think during a workout, after prejudging was hard.
That was what I was talking about.
Yeah, I had my hoodie on, and
certain places. That was kind of what I was alluding to.
Yeah. So yeah, he helped me get through there because I didn't want to.
I knew you didn't. I knew you didn't want to be there, but I knew it was good for you.
Yeah, I was done, and I remember he left the room. And I was just sitting there, and then I got a phone call from Joey Quinn, and he came back, and then we all talked, and then he got me to go work out. Finals come, and even backstage happened again. And that was just, so happy that we just got to the 8th place finish, And we went back to the room, and he was super excited, hey, let's go out, we're going to go party, celebrate this. And I couldn't, and I told him, I was like, yo, if your friend came down, like, just go spend time with your family, your friends. They came, they let you come and be here with me more than you were with them.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, so you guys have the night. And it was a moment that I just needed to myself, And it hit me, too, because, right, without me even saying anything, this is where we connect differently. He looked at me and he told me, I know what it's like doing something so big and no one around. And that's when that shit hit me. So, yeah. He's a coach for a reason, best friend. Damn, I talk about marriage. I'm like, this is my best man right here already. So it will be him.
Yeah. It's just different, guys. It's hard to explain.
Yeah.
If you have a friendship and a relationship like that with somebody in your life, then you understand what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, and the beautiful thing is that none of what he and I do as friends and as coach, athlete, whatever, doesn't have to make sense to anybody besides us.
Yep.
Right.
Like, I go to sleep at night knowing that I'm doing the best that I can for him, and I'm putting his needs way above mine, and that I'm putting his long-term best needs in the crosshairs of what we're aiming for, besides just the short-term wants. So, that's how that's the justification that's all the justification that I need to continue to do my job the way that I have been and the way that I continue to will continue to do, because of that. The one of the happiest moments for me was obviously seeing him win at Cal, but there were also some things along the way that I was extremely, extremely happy about the Olympia placing. I wanted to celebrate, but Kiki was there. That was the girl I was seeing at the time. She had flown in from Australia.
Oh, wow.
To be with me. Shout out Kiki, you're fucking awesome, love you. And so Brazil was another one because I just was so happy with how we looked.
Yeah,
because we were like 7 pounds heavier, or 6 pounds, maybe 6 pounds, but again, like that much heavier on stage, only from having just competed in November, and like we didn't do an off-season cycle. We didn't do like an off-season like where I was building food up and we didn't really have that kind of time. It was just a matter of like, hey, let's get healthy, and then it was time to basically like shit or get off the pot.
Yep.
If we're going to jump into this show, because early April comes quick. When you just got off stage in November. So like the fact that we made, and it wasn't just like him and I noticing it. It was a lot of people noticed it. Like they commented, they were like, "Oh wow, this is a better Tonio than we've ever seen." And then at New York, like we weren't quite as sharp, but we were fucking huge.
Right.
I still have the pictures. I look at the cell phone pictures every once in a while because the cell phone pictures really tell the story. I don't care what anybody says. That's actually what you look like. All these videos and whatnot, they're like ultra HD, 4K, 8K. It smooths everyone out. It's not what your eyeballs capture. And truthfully, what you look like to the eye is what matters. And that was ridiculous. Just so full. It was just crazy. It's still shredded, obviously. Like still shredded. But yeah, just and that was another really gratifying feeling, and was really fun because obviously we got to have all three of us together because Joey was there.
Right.
Joey doesn't travel to shows quite like I do. But that was awesome. And then obviously being able to be at Cal for the win was, and then that was really the first show other than Brazil, because you flew back. Like it was like New York happened and then Tonio was gone the next morning. Like he traditionally likes to get back pretty early. Being able to celebrate in Brazil and being able to celebrate in Cal, one was a win and one wasn't. They both were very special because you put down the competition side of it, and it's like you put down this. You then just get to start hanging. You get to hang out with each other as people, and it's just like, yeah, of course I want to go hang out with you and like go celebrate with you because I like who you are as a person. I'm not just going because you're my athlete and I'm obligated to go. And that's the special part about it. And it's just, and all of these, and I've said this to him before, but I don't know if I've ever been on record saying this, in retrospect to him. But those memories that we're having, and that we're building are things that like in 20 years we will be looking back on these and say, man, those were some great times. and that's the stuff that like we have to be mindful of now. Like we're not young guys anymore, right? Like we're not in our 20s. We're not 22, 23-year-old kids that can just like be dumb and not be present and and then we think back on it later where it's like, no, it's like these are our year. This is the time to really be present on what we're doing, and be grateful for it and cherish those memories and try to make more memories and stay present for those. So that way, 20 years from now, we can remember all of those fine details and those little idiosyncrasies that made it as good as it was. Just so much. There's just, and it's a lot of it can be summed up with you had to be there, and that's the stuff that it's irreplaceable.
Right.
And those are the memories that, as a coach and as an athlete, that you'll remember, in my opinion, more so than what shows you won and lost. I mean, of course, you'll remember your record, and like winning pro shows in the pro leagues is extremely difficult, so you'll remember all of them. But like, I know that I will remember far more the celebrations and the great memories and moments that were shared after the show together, when we get to rehumanize ourselves and just normal people, rather than just, oh, well, I had this athlete win this show and this athlete win this show and stuff like that. Like, no. The memories that are formed in the moment and being there, like being present with it, is the stuff that you'll remember forever. And that's the stuff that matters to me. So.
Right.
Definitely some more memories to secure in the future. You guys are gonna have a long off season. Put on some serious muscle.
Oh yeah. It's gonna get crazy.
Yeah.
So no more hashtag off our hunting season. It's hashtag hibernation.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's hibernating season. Which is perfect because we're in the fall now, and we're going to be quickly here shortly approaching the winter, and this is the time to throw a hoodie on and not look at yourself in the mirror and just eat until you can't, and train and get strong as fuck and just let it happen. It just happens a little bit more organically that way anyway. So
right.
So we timed this up perfectly, and we're in a great place to be able to make some really crazy splashes whenever it is that we do get back on stage. But but not looking too far forward. We've got things ahead of us that we need to do and accomplish first, and then we'll be able to really sit down and figure out what our next plan of attack is as far as what shows we want to do.
Absolutely. Well, Justin, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your wealth of knowledge, and hopefully there's some coaches out there that can snag some of those tools you shared from your tool shed.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. No, I wanted to be able to do a podcast with Tonio for a while, so this was perfect opportunity to come and do his podcast with him. Yeah, and I mean, if anyone that was listening, I mean, hopefully some of these, if there's any coaches listening, it's the intangibles, quite frankly, that matter and make you a great coach a lot more than the X's and O's. Because most of us know roughly the same stuff. We all roughly follow a very similar plan and protocol. We're not doing usually any secrets or any tricks, but it's about the intangibles that I feel like do truly separate the elite coaches from the rest. And that's my goal, is to be an elite coach. So if you're listening, tap into that. Dive into the more intangible side of things as opposed to just the X's and O's.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that helps you guys out there, coaches, fans.
He might have to dumb it down a little bit.
Yeah, just keep an eye on the comment section if anyone has any questions. Yeah, just jump in there for the next couple of weeks.
They'll be fine.
Yeah. Tonio, always a pleasure.
Yes, you as well.
Have a good week, and then we've got ladies and gentlemen, we have a absolutely phenomenal roster of athletes coming on leading into this Olympia, and many, many more coming on afterwards. So make sure you stay tuned, consider subscribing, follow Tonio Burton and Justin on Instagram, check out their sponsors, support the athletes as much as you can, and that's it. Thanks for watching. Again, thank you, everyone, and we'll see you, ladies and gentlemen, in the next one here on the Monday Morning Muscle Show.
Peace.
The salute at the end is always the